and that the beaver is a truly proud and noble animal. A toque is a hat, a Chesterfield is a coach, and it is pronounced Zed, not Z. Canada is the second largest landmass, the first nation in hockey, and the best part of North America. My name is Joe, and I am Canadian.
Thank you. Life has its bumps, but you don't have to feel them. Now Midas Gold struts with R2 technology are only $79.95 each, with a lifetime guarantee at any Midas. Go smoothly. Go Midas.
So what's on for today?
Boss wants you, me, and Charlie to take the new Silverado and move them bales.
Is that Charlie?
Chevy Silverado has the most powerful V8 of any 4x4 pickup.
Then we gotta water the herd.
300 horses make it more powerful.
If there's any daylight left, we'll take Norm up to see the ladies.
More powerful than Ford and Dodge. That's why it's the truck. Silverado from Chevy.
Well, guess that's enough for today.
Yamaha YZF-R series. No compromise.
Life has its bumps, but you don't have to feel them. Now Midas Gold struts with R2 technology are only $79.95 each, with a lifetime guarantee at any Midas. Go smoothly. Go Midas.
After all the heart-stopping moments
In the lane, puts it up,
and breathtaking plays,
behind the back, how about that one?
4 teams battle for college basketball supremacy. Michigan State, led by point guard Mateen Cleaves. The Florida Gators, which upset high-powered Duke. Storied North Carolina. And the upstart Wisconsin Badgers. The Pontiac Final Four. Coverage begins tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific. Live on CTV Sportsnet. Game day, every day.
Welcome back to Maple Leaf Gardens, the Grand Old Lady on Carlton Street. It's the Crossfire from Pittsburgh against the Rock of Toronto, with first place in the National Lacrosse League on the line. And Shanahan's secrets are brought to you by Midas.
Yeah, the Rock has to control the gate. You can't stop them, but you got to minimize them, and you do that with a punishing defense. They got to slow the game down as much as possible, and as we said before, they need a big game from Colin Doyle. As far as Pittsburgh, what they got to do is try to spread out the tough Toronto defense. They need to get some scoring from their rights. 80% of their scoring has come from their left shooters, and they got to play some defense and fast break.
The starting netminders for the Crossfire as Devin Daly with a 4-2 record and a 12.95 goals against average, and Bob Watson, who has a .775 save percentage and 11.21 league-leading goals against average, gets the start in goal for the Toronto Rock. And there's a look at Bob Watson along with backup goaltender Pat Campbell. The referees tonight, the crew chief from Boston is Dave Berman. Chet Couture and Paul Ravery are working with him, and Mark Tranistich is in the penalty box working with the time clock. And we are ready to go. They expect about 15,000 in the old barn here tonight, and people arriving slowly as we get a chance for Squire. Pulling back in for Squire, and a good shot save made there. Dolly made a good save down low, and now out come the Crossfire, bringing it out to mid-floor. Changes on the go, and this is Gait trying to work it in. Paul Gait, inside move, stopped by Watson on a good save off Joe Hiltz. The Crossfire have some other weapons that they can utilize, and Hiltz has been terrific this year. He's got 23 goals and 46 points. So they can't focus entirely on Paul and Gary Gait.
Yeah, and right behind him, Joe, is Neil Dodridge with 19 goals. And these guys are great at picking up the garbage from the Gait Brothers.
A shot by Squire, bounces wide, and now Squire gets a new 30-second clock. Kim Squire. It'll be interesting to see what kind of gas he's got in the tank because, as you mentioned, playing shape is a lot different than just trying to work in practice or jogging to try and get into shape. Now here the Crossfire, Paul Cantabine with the ball. Cantabine looking for Gait, finds Paul Gait, trying to work inside move, and it bounced wide of the goal. Grabbed off by Ladouceur, but there's a whistle here. And it appears that we've got our first penalty. Tonight's first period is brought to you by AOL Canada. New pricing on limited use. Stay on as long as you want.
Here you're going to see the penalty call. Colin Doyle's got called on the way to the bench. Must be some retaliation here. That's not much of a call as far as I'm concerned.
Interference is what they're calling, and so the Crossfire on the power play. Paul Gait, Gary Gait is number 22. Hiltz inside, great save, Watson rebound, and that hits somebody in front of the net. Has a great chance there for Jesse Hubbard.
Jim Veltman got a stick in front of that. You're going to see Toronto is going to try to take everything away from the Gates. But Pittsburgh's going to get some chances from the right because of that.
Pat Coyle and Veltman. Now a penalty is coming here to Pittsburgh as Watson heads to the bench. The Rock will have 9 seconds as far as the shot clock is concerned. Stroop, and a shot by O'Connor goes wide, and as it bounds back over the timeline, the whistle will go. And here is the call. And heading into the penalty box is number 41, Joe Hiltz, the Peterborough native. And that will negate the Pittsburgh power play that had 1:14 left in it.
These are two of the most penalized teams in the league. Pittsburgh's actually the most penalized team in the league, and Toronto's right behind them. And surprisingly, Pittsburgh's power play isn't that good. They're just in the middle of the pack.
Cole dropping it back. Langdale in a foot race here. Langdale trying to outmuscle Brian Reese, and he does so with some good effort. He had to go a long way. Steve Toll bringing it up now for Toronto. Toll works to the net, then pulls back, looks for outlet. 4-on-4 lacrosse here with coincident minor penalties going on. This is Kim Squire. Inside, nice play, shot, scores! It's waved off. Waved off by the official.
He called that a crease violation. That was a perfect pick and roll on that play.
And Kim Squire having an effect right away with a nice play. Here's Gary Gait. Fakes, then lets it go. Ladouceur got his rather large body in front of that. Gait with the ball back of the Toronto net. Over-the-shoulder pass doesn't work, and Bullen has the rebound. Bullen, a lead pass, and goaltender Dalit comes out to take it away. Paul Gait gets the outlet. Glenn Clark was trying to catch up to that ball, but it just bounded away from him. Paul Gait looking for the pick, and then that wasn't much more than a piece of interference there, run by the Pittsburgh Crossfire. The ball is turned over, and now the Rock are on the power play with 35 seconds left in it.
Yeah, Pittsburgh was called on a moving pick that was more of a hit than a pick.
Outside, Colin Doyle, shot right on. Dolly got in the way of that. Another hit into the corner. Dolly trying to get it out. Loose ball on the carpet. Still free. Tap is knocked down. So is Squire. He is upended, and there's a whistle here. Now here the Rock still on the power play. 1 second left in it. Out of the box comes Hiltz. Chance from outside, scores! Caleb Toth makes it 1-0 Toronto.
Caleb Toth has a great outside shot. Toronto's showing us a different look in the power play with Kim Squire's back. They've got him on the crease, but this time with the player coming out of the penalty box, Toth knows he's right behind him, just takes a good hard shot. That's his 12th goal of the season, Joe. He's doing great. He's the 4th leading scorer among rookies.
And playing exceptionally well in his first year. And the Rock had some excellent rookie performances a year ago. Now here's Roddy Squire. Had it knocked off his stick. And it's grabbed off now by the Crossfire. And here's Darcy Berthiaume. Playing it up the middle for Gary Gait. Gait works it in. 6'2" and 210. Gary Gait's pass went too far. Jesse Hubbard into the slot for Paul Gait. Paul leaves it for Gary. Gary trying to come inside. Pass intercepted by Bullen. Nice heads-up play there by defender Terry Bullen. Dishes the ball off. Gill into O'Connor. O'Connor holds the ball, fakes the pass into the slot. Toth can't get a shot away, double teamed and loses the ball, but O'Connor retrieves it. Off the bench is Colin Doyle. Doyle trying to get away from the checking of Neil Doldridge. Now Doyle with the maneuver through the crease, then takes a couple of whacks from the goaltender, Dolly, as he crashed into the net, and now Doyle gets shoving here with Hugh Donovan. And we'll wait and see if there are penalties sorted out here by referee Dave Berman. 9:45 to go first period. It is 1-0 Toronto.
What? Nobody shaves during the playoffs.
It's a Canadian game.
If you're looking for horsepower, look at Chevy Silverado. Because Silverado has the most powerful V8 of any 4x4 pickup. More powerful than Dodge. More powerful than Ford. 300 horsepower. That's why it's the truck. Silverado from Chevy.
Molson Export Rock Lacrosse, brought to you in part by Molson Export. Rock this. And by Chevy Trucks, like a rock. Toth from Doyle is the scoring play, his 12th of the year. As you look at John Tucker and Les Bartley, the head coaches of the respective teams, the Pittsburgh Crossfire practice and work out in Baltimore, where they were out of a year ago, and then go to Pittsburgh for their home games, or to Toronto and other areas for road games.
Yeah, they didn't get good attendance in Baltimore, so they decided to try Pittsburgh. But most of the players are from Baltimore, and the ownership, so they still practice there.
Hiltz, Gait. Gary Gait has it knocked out of his stick. Bullen has the ball on the floor, but it's played up on the wall. Now here's Clark losing it. Pass inside, and Paul Gait couldn't handle the feed. Gait knocking it away. In comes Pat Coyle, but it is turned over, and now it's going to be brought back up the floor, and it will be a chance here for Graham. Graham gets it back, and Toll plays it over on the other side. Colin Doyle is knocked down. Unable to retrieve it was Squire, and back quickly comes Pittsburgh. Racing in is Kip Folks. Folks into the slot, and a great heads-up play there, and a nice intercept by Steve Toll.
Kip Folks is probably the fastest runner in the league, Joe. You'll see him fast breaking out of his own end all game, and Toronto's got to be aware of that. But Steve Toll's not too slow himself.
4th year in the league, Kip Folks from the University of Maryland. Now this is Dan Stroop. Inside shot, but it is scooped up there by Dolly. And Pittsburgh turn it back up the floor. Here's Gait. Paul Gait had it knocked out of his stick, then had his stick knocked out of his hands. And Squire scoops it back to goaltender Watson.
That was a great job by Rod Squires. It was a total mismatch. You don't want Rod Squire covering Gait only because of the size difference there. But he did a great job on a stick check there, and Toronto will try not to let that happen again. Even the biggest defenders need backup when Gait's coming down.
But so far, the Toronto Rock have demonstrated a real persistence in their defensive coverage as Langdale takes it to the net, diving into the crease, but it was on the floor and now turned over, and Pittsburgh has the ball. Rodney Tapp waiting for the referee to give him a signal to play on with 7:47 to go in the first period. 1-0 Toronto here from Maple Leaf Gardens, and we're glad you're along with us here on CTV Sportsnet. Hiltz. Errant pass. Hubbard, far corner, controls and looks for Gary Gait and finds him. Gait lost the ball, and Pittsburgh's been guilty of putting the ball on the carpet a lot. And it's scooped up here by Patty Coyle. 2-on-1 with Clark out of the bench now. Chance for Coyle inside. Clark mishandles the ball and can't shoot it. Left it in the corner. Without a stick is Matt Shear trying to pin his man to the far boards and then heads to the bench for a replacement with a stick. Stroop. Got it. Down low, now looks for the reverse as Caleb Toth tries to send it high, and with time running out on the shot clock, and that horn is exactly what ends the play. Here's Gary Gait with some room to go to the net. The room evaporates quickly. Now for brother Paul, behind the back shot and scores! What a nice move that was, and Paul Gait ties the game at ones with his 29th of the season and his 20th.
Contrast to Loaiza, Rolando Araujo was sharp early on. Jose Cruz Jr. victimized in the third.
Good job, and they knocked Gary Gait down.
The time of the goal. Gary Gait sets up brother Paul. Back come Pittsburgh, tied at 1. Hiltz waiting for a late change, then the pass inside and a good shot by Cantabine, and it's 2-1. Paul Cantabine from Rochester, New York, who is a second-team All-American while at Loyola, makes it 2-1 in favor of Pittsburgh.
And Toronto can't let this happen. They can't relax. That was just a perfect pick and roll. Cantabine came up, threw the pick on Hiltz, and went to the net. Here you see the pick comes up. You don't really see it from there. Throws a pick and goes straight back to the net. Hiltz is a master at it, but I think Toronto relaxed a little bit with the Gates off the floor. They got to be aware of everybody out there.
2 goals, 22 seconds apart, and the Pittsburgh Crossfire have their first lead of the game. Veltman waiting for offensive players to come out the front door and gives it off to Colin Doyle. 30 seconds for the offensive teams to get a shot on the net. And the Rock have 15 seconds with which to work. Veltman. Langdale a shot. That starts a fresh 30, but the ball on the floor is scooped up here by the Crossfire. Quickly back down the floor comes Hugh Donovan. Donovan dishes it off and heads to the bench, and here is Gary Gait with it. Gait being looked after by Bullen. Now Paul Gait with a shot stopped by Watson, and the ball is picked up quickly by Steve Toll. He's got great quickness, and down the left side he comes. Takes the look, and the shot was partially deflected by Kip Folks, but it went harmlessly wide. Now a shot, scores! Dan Stroop set up nicely in front, and the game is tied at 2.
Great effort bringing the ball up the floor for Toll, you're going to see from the missed shot, Toll misses a shot. It looked like it might have even hit the pipe. But Gill works hard on the loose ball. Even though there's 4 guys on the floor for Pittsburgh, they just weren't paying attention to Stroop. Puts it in from where he always does.
Dan Stroop with his 23rd goal of the season. He's one behind the club lead, currently held by Chris Gill. But Dan Stroop ties the game at 2.
Toronto has to continue to pound Gary and Paul Gait.
Hilts a shot, and that went wide. Gait couldn't control the rebound, but it is picked up before it went over the timeline by Viscarando. Now Paul Gait, or Gary Gait rather, with a one-handed shot that went wide. Picked up in front, and a shot goes wide again. And because of the 2 shots that don't hit the net, time runs out on the shot clock, and Toronto will have the ball when we return. The Rock 2, the Crossfire 2 from Maple Leaf Gardens.
Life has its bumps, but you don't have to feel them. Now Midas Gold struts with R2 technology are only $79.95 each, with a lifetime guarantee at any Midas. Go smoothly. Go Midas.
If you think all ATVs are created equal, you've never ridden a Yamaha. The new Kodiak 400 Automatic and Big Bear 400 from Yamaha. Because out here, bears rule.
You know, I hear they used to play hockey in this place. Yeah, I heard that too.
Hockey's not a bad game.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's a little slow.
Toronto Rock Lacrosse is here. Get your tickets now and get ready to rock.
Life has its bumps, but you don't have to feel them. Now Midas Gold struts with R2 technology are only $79.95 each, with a lifetime guarantee at any Midas. Go smoothly. Go Midas.
2-2 the score at Maple Leaf Gardens midway through the first quarter with 4:44 to play in it. Toronto with the ball and going without goaltender Bob Watson in the net. And now Langdell to the bench and Watson comes out.
That was
Gill.
That was just, I think, to make sure that they don't put the press on Toronto.
With the timeout, yep.
Yep.
Here's Gill. O'Connor took a shot that was blocked. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Long shot, that was blocked. Another shot is blocked as Stroop is felled, and Dan Stroop hasn't moved. He was knocked down and has not moved from the slot area in front of the Pittsburgh goal. He was wide open after he took the shot, and he may have taken a shot to the ribs here.
There was about 4 shots blocked there, Joe, and often it looked like they were hitting the Toronto players. I don't know if Stroop might have gotten one of the earlier blocks.
Well, he is being attended to here by athletic therapist Dave Murray, and now is up and coming to the bench, so that's good news. Yeah, he may have taken one of those. Then he got felled by Kip Folks, it looks like. But he shakes his head at Coach Les Bartley, saying that he's all right. And Pittsburgh have the ball. Hiltz gets it down low. Here's Paul Gait with the shot. That just went wide of Watson. Gait on the far side. Last year, in the first meeting between Baltimore and Toronto in the opening game of the season, Gary Gait set a National Lacrosse League record with 10 goals.
Yeah, and that's a game Toronto would like to forget.
And from that point on, they decided they'd better start winning with a little defense.
I think they decided they should become a defensive team after that game. They were going to be an offensive team for the first game.
Yeah, identity very quickly changed. Here's Toll with a shot that goes wide, and the rebound will bounce over the timeline, and it'll have to be brought back where there will be ample opportunity for both teams to change players. 3:15 remaining. First quarter. Gary Gait works the right side, had the ball knocked out of his stick, then took a shot from Patty Coyle. Now Doddridge over there trying to get a piece. Here's Graham to the net, and that was stopped on a good save by Dalit. The ball caught up in his shin pad equipment. But being physical with the Gates is very much a part of Pat Coyle's makeup. The Toronto native with a pretty good hit on Gait after the ball was put on the carpet, and he makes another good move there, reaching around.
I've never seen the ball put on the carpet this many times with either of the Gates. They're doing a great job on the stick check.
Gait with a shot, split save by Watson, got a piece. Now Pittsburgh organizing again. The pass goes high and is going to bounce out at center and over the timeline, and so they'll change it up.
One of the things you got to remember when you're trying to stop the Gates, sometimes what you do in the first period will have more of an impact on the third or fourth quarter, because they get worn down. You got to just battle them and pound them, and they might score 3 or 4 goals early on, but you got to wear them down for late in the game.
Chance there by Ryan O'Connor from Terrace, BC, but it went over top of the net. O'Connor with a pretty good two-hander there on the way by, as bringing the ball up was Darcy Berthiaume. Hiltz. Inside move. This is Matt Shear from Whitby, Ontario. That went wide, and now a scramble as Dan Ladouceur plants Brian Reese into the corner. 1:53 left in the period. 26 seconds on a fresh 30-second clock here for Pittsburgh. Hiltz scores! The outside shot from right in the middle. And Hiltz beats Bob Watson, and Pittsburgh regains the lead 3-2.
Usually Joe Hiltz is the one throwing the pick. Here you see he uses a bit of a screen here by Gait. See Gait, it's a big guy, just gets in front of Terry Bullen, just slows Bullen down a second from coming across. Nice outside shot.
Hiltz with his 24th goal of the season.
Joe Hiltz is a master at throwing picks, and he'll cheat as much as he can. He does a great job at interfering, and that time it was Paul Gait doing the opposite, throwing a nice screen on Hiltz.
Rodney Tapp in the corner. St. Catharines native, went to Whittier College. Pass back. Now here's Doddridge. Playing it around the boards. Doddridge rather. Gait tries to take it to the net. A penalty coming. And Langdale and Doddridge shoving a little bit. And let's see what the penalty is all about. It's a holding call, and it looks like it's going to Terry Bullen, the Orillia native. And a Mann Cup winner with the Brooklyn Redmen will go to the penalty box.
Yeah, Terry took the hand off to show that he wasn't holding, and it could have been a high stick at the end there, but that wasn't from Terry.
Tonight's Rock broadcast brought to you in part by Midas. Car care the way it should be. Holding call to Terry Bullen. So the Rock are a man short for the second time in this game, trailing 3-2.
Baltimore is trying something completely different here on the power play. They've got 4 lefts on the floor.
Here's a breakaway attempt. Clark, great score made by Colin Doyle. A quick up, and Doyle was all alone for the shorthanded goal, and he goes back to congratulate Glenn Clark, who made a great pass.
Beautiful play starting in the Toronto end off the loose ball. Here you see Clark. He's got 4 guys. The problem for Pittsburgh is everyone's going at him. Nobody's running back. Clark up to Veltman, up to Doyle. Great shot. Doyle is feisty tonight, and he's on his game. When he's on his game, he's going to the net. He's arguing, talking. You can see him on the bench. They need that from him from here on in.
12th goal of the year, and now quickly back, and it is the lead restored by Pittsburgh's Kip Fulks, and you mentioned his speed. We saw an abundance of it right there.
You don't see that too often on a power play. You're usually taught you get the ball, wait for the power play to come on. Well, Kip Fulks just used his speed, caught everyone standing still. Pat Coyle, even though he's a big guy, he is not slow by any means. And Kip Folks actually shot wrong-handed there. He's a left shooter, switched to the right. You see he's carrying left, switches to the right. Nice bounce shot.
10th of the year for Folks on the power play, just seconds after Colin Doyle's shorthanded goal. His first shorthanded tally of the year had tied the game. So Pittsburgh and the Rock break even on the Pittsburgh power play, their second of the game. Goaltender Daly taken out, but is able to get back into the crease. Bullen ran into him. Now the ball on the carpet. Cantabine finally comes away with it for Pittsburgh. Cantabine on the far side for Paul Gait. Gait taking it around back of the net. Fake a pass. Grabbed by Coyle, and then as he's flattened in front of the net, it bounces over the glass out of play. And Toronto has a dozen seconds with which to work here in the first period. Veltman with a quick glance sees that he has just 7 seconds. The pass in now. Chance and a good save made by Daly. He score with 1 second left. Caleb Toth with 1 second remaining in the period to tie the game at 4.
Great play by Toronto. Heads up. You see Veltman looked at the clock to see how much time was left and picked up the pace on that, and that enabled the Toth get the rebound, put it in with 1 second to go. Instead of just letting the clock go, Veltman saw that he had a chance for one more scoring opportunity. Forced the play. That's a great veteran play by Veltman.
So it runs out as the first period, brought to you by AOL Canada. New pricing, unlimited use. Stay on as long as you want. And it's a high-scoring first period. The Rock and the Pittsburgh Crossfire are tied at 4.
Are we into sports or what? Toronto Sun Sports. Are we into sports or what? Toronto Sun Sports.
Hey, I'm not a lumberjack or a fur trader, and I don't live in an igloo or eat blubber or own a dog sled. And I don't know Jimmy, Sally, or Susie from Canada, although I'm certain they're really, really nice. I have a prime minister, not a president. I speak English and French, not American, and I pronounce it about, not a boot. I can proudly sew my country's flag on my backpack. I believe in peacekeeping, not policing. Diversity, not assimilation. And that the beaver is a truly proud and noble animal. A toque is a hat. A Chesterfield is a coach. And it is pronounced Z, not Z. Canada is the second largest landmass, the first nation in hockey, and the best part of North America. My name is Joe, and I am Canadian.
Thank you. You know, I hear they used to play hockey in this place. Yeah, I heard that too.
Hockey's not a bad game.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's a little slow.
Toronto Rock Lacrosse is here. Get your tickets now and get ready to rock.
Sunday on CTV. You are going to love this game, because when the Raptors meet the Pacers, you'll see two teams in the midst of breakthrough seasons. Marvel at Toronto's amazing Vince Carter, a dynamic dunker who's captured the imagination of fans everywhere. And watch Indiana's Jalen Rose, an exciting compliment to the extraordinary Reggie Miller. Don't miss the Indiana Pacers and the Toronto Raptors. Sunday at 4, 2 Central on CTV.
I love this game.
Welcome back. We're with Rock assistant coach Ed Como. Turnovers and transition. Eddie, this is a track meet out here tonight.
Yeah, we thought it would. We know Pittsburgh's got a lot of speed, and we cater with a lot of speed ourselves. So We just need to capitalize on our chances in transition.
Thank you, Ed. This is another Molson Export Bench Report. Joe, back up to you.
Thanks, Paul. A 4-4 tie as we start the second period here with the long changes for both teams. Here's Canada on the far side for Paul Gait, inside, and a shot stopped by Watson. Flipped by Veltman back, and Bullen brings it out with a lead pass out of the door on the far side is Toll. Steve Toll now waiting for the rest of his offensive complement. Rory Graham hands it off, and here is Popeye Doyle. Colin Doyle, who against Baltimore scored a big goal, and now going to the net is Squire, and he is in the crease, and that's the ruling of the official Chet Couture. Good hit there by Doyle as he felled his man, and Cantabine has the ball. Cantabine gets it returned. Reese sets a pick. Cantabine trying to look inside for a shot. Notice the different helmets as the Pittsburgh team almost, well, completely utilizing outdoor lacrosse, field lacrosse helmets.
That's what
Watson doesn't get a shot on the net.
Most of these guys are comfortable wearing that, Joe, from most of these guys are field lacrosse players.
Shot clock violation turns the ball over to Toronto in a 4-4 tie. Clark hands the ball off. Stroop now for Toth. Caleb Toth trying to move around. Looks inside, still holding the ball, being forced there by Hugh Donovan, number 43. 11 seconds on the shot clock for Gill. Gill makes a move to the net, and a good arm save made there by Devin Dolly. Ball still on the carpet, but Reese has it now across the center line. Reese fakes the shot and will wait for offensive players to come out the front door for Pittsburgh. This is Matt Shear. Whitby native. Shear trying to look for an inside shot. Dishes it off, and Hiltz will play it over on the right side. Penalty coming to Toronto. Here is Gait. Paul Gait with a shot and scores! Paul Gait with a nifty move to get around the defender, and with a penalty about to be called, that will be negated. But Pittsburgh has restored the lead. They've had it on 3 occasions.
There you see, just give him a few inches, and he can pull his stick back and pop it in. He's so dangerous. I think Toronto was thrown off a bit by the penalty call. Terry Bullen was arguing with the referees afterwards. Toronto had to be aware of the extra man coming on from the bench because they pulled their goalie, and I think that threw him off a little bit.
30th of the year for Paul Gait.
This is a critical period for Toronto. Toronto has been terrible in the second period, Joe, and you mentioned that long change, and I think that's a big factor. Toronto relies on getting their defense on from their offense, and in the second and fourth quarters, the defense have to run a lot farther to get there.
Here's Kim Squire scoring! Kim Squire off the right side, and welcome back, Kim Squire.
Great goal for Kim. It was a weak one for Dalip to be giving up. He really had no angle, but this great goal scorers can always find a spot. I don't know how he put that in. You're going to see it looks like he has absolutely nothing to shoot at. No angle, and just bounced it in the short side.
So Kim Squire has his 7th goal of the season and his first since the first game of the year. Good hit there by Pat Coyle.
Here's Folks again on a fast break. He's awesome out there with his speed.
Ball on the carpet again, controlled, and out come Toronto. This is Rory Graham, and he is being chased down from behind, but we'll get the offensive players onto the floor. Veltman, cross pass, and a good hard shot as it rolls through the crease, but a Toronto player had his foot in there, and now Doyle, he gets cross-checked underneath the chin by Rodney Tapp, and now he gets punched in the head. So Colin Doyle has obviously gotten underneath the skin here of a few of the Pittsburgh Crossfire.
It's Dodderich and Tapp in there, and you're going to see some retribution. I'll guarantee on that.
Doyle's pretty well had a piece of everybody who's on the floor right here.
Yeah, that's a nice slash by Doddridge, a nice slash by Tapp, but it's a high stick to the head. And I guarantee you, when the time is right, somebody will return the favor.
Now Doyle is coming back to the referee. Is he pointing out that he's... No, I think he may be getting a penalty here, and he's upset at that. Yep. Doyle is going to the penalty box. And there will be another penalty as well to the Pittsburgh Crossfire. Tapp. Tonight's Rock broadcast is brought to you in part by Yamaha, exceeding expectations. And by Midas, car care the way it should be.
Doyle should be upset here. Now, I would suspect that Pittsburgh is going to get the extra penalty. Anything less than that is a terrible call. Now, I think
Doddridge is in there as well, so I think someone else is getting a penalty, and let's wait and see. Doyle and Doddridge are conversing.
Is the second most penalized player in league history. And he's very familiar, or I should say that Toronto players are very familiar with him. He played up here in Brampton. He's won 7-man cups. In fact, he holds a record. He's the only player to win 6-man cups in a row. But I don't think anybody cares about that right now. I'm sure Neil Doddridge is the kind of player that you don't really like too much.
You love to hate.
You love to hate.
Yeah, but if he's on your team, you love him. And Doddridge won a indoor lacrosse championship with the Detroit Turbos in 1991. Tapp with a bit of a slap and then a pretty good cross check underneath the chin of Colin Doyle, and then Doddridge comes in and gives Doyle a punch as well. So that's what this is all about, and it's being sorted out now.
In spite of the penalty minutes at Doddridge, and I don't think Rodney Tapp has too many penalty minutes over his career. He's not a tough player. He's more of a goal scorer, actually. He's the third leading scorer on the team, or fourth leading scorer on the team. He's got 19 goals this year. I think he's having his best offensive year. But he just has a knack for getting under the skin of opponents. And he will pick his spots. And I guarantee you, Pat Coyle will be talking to him and looking for him later.
Here's what you were talking about as far as the first and third quarters against the second and fourth, Brian.
So you can see, yes, in those quarters, that's Toronto plays way better in the first and third, where they're outscoring their opponents, and it's almost a total reverse. And the shots on net, 254 to 185 for Toronto in the first and third, and almost the opposite, 258 to 181 in the other quarters. And I am sure a lot of that is they just get caught on the transition. The defense gets tired. They really rely on getting their defensemen out, their defensive players out there, and they have a whole lot farther to run. So we heard Les Bartley saying, just before we came back from the break, we heard him saying this is the period that makes or breaks us. So they're well aware that it has been a weak period. I'm still interested. I haven't heard any calls here yet.
No, they have not made any announcements. Doyle, one of the Crossfire players, let's listen in.
Pittsburgh penalty number 21, Neil Doddridge, 2 minutes for roughing. Number 38, Rodney Tapp.
5 on 4. 5 on 4.
Number 34, Ryan Reese, a
Got a ball.
misconduct.
Need a biscuit.
Block penalty number 7, Colin Doyle, 2 minutes for roughing. Time of all penalties, 2 minutes, 49 seconds.
So the additional penalty will go to Neil Doddridge, and Toronto goes to their second power play of the game, but Reese is gone. Brian Reese, the second-year player out of the University of Maryland, is gone for the night.
And that's a bit more important in lacrosse with the lesser lineup. In hockey, you got 18 skaters dressed. In lacrosse, they're only allowed 15 runners dressed. So I'm not sure what Reese did to get kicked out. I assume he must have been mouthing off to the ref, because I never even saw him involved.
No, he wasn't involved very much as far as the physical aspect of it, as it is flipped by Kip Folks down after the time violation, as Pittsburgh are killing off this second power play opportunity for Toronto. The Rock had scored 33 of 73 opportunities and are among the league leaders in power play proficiency. Squire, Kim Squire, Nice pass inside, rolling to the line. No goal.
Oh, I thought that was.
I thought it did too. We will remind you there is no video replay in this league.
No, and that goalie doesn't want to move.
Devin Dolly laid down, and the ball.
And you see Stroop just cuts through the center here. It's almost a decoy was thrown by Toth. Toth cuts through the center. He's like a decoy, and Stroop comes following him, and Stroop got the ball. I'm not so sure that didn't roll in, Joe.
Well, I got news for you. It could roll all the way to the back of the net now. It doesn't matter.
That's
it ain't
right.
counting.
The only thing from Pittsburgh's point of view, you don't want the goal, or you don't want the referee to know he made a mistake if it was a goal. You don't want him to feel like he owes the other team something.
Toth off the near wall. Gill couldn't handle it. The ball's on the carpet now and is whacked out at center for Beltman to intercept. Here's Toth with a chance inside and the shot, and that was well wide, but Beltman covering up on the play keeps it inside. 20 seconds on the shot clock, 13 on the power play. Gill, Squire, his shot, and a good save by Devin Dolly, and it is turned over now to Pittsburgh. Long lead pass, Beltman intercepts that, and back in now with the penalty over. Kim Squire off the bench, takes shots, scores! No, it's waved off. The net's pushed off its mooring, and now a tangle of players down in the Pittsburgh zone with Squire and Hugh Donovan tangled up. So the Rock have two close calls in behind Devin Dolly, but we remain tied at 5.
Life has its bumps, but you don't have to feel them. Now Midas Gold struts with R2 technology are only $79.95 each, with a lifetime guarantee at any Midas. Go smoothly. Go Midas.
As a new mom, I don't have time to shower, let alone go to the bank. It's nice to have the option to do your banking online with Air Canada, and it makes life a lot easier.
With all new pricing, including unlimited use, you can stay online as long as you want.
Now comes with a CD stereo, upgraded wheels, and a new 5-speed Getrag transmission.
Excuse me? You dropped your earring.
Hey! You're a guy!
The Chevrolet Cavalier Coupe 2000 package for 1.9% purchase financing or $188 a month and more features than ever.
I use the instant messenger system on Air Canada to talk to my friends. That's really cool because the three of us can go into one chat room and talk together. It's better than the phone.
With all new pricing, including unlimited use, you can stay online as long as you want.
Life has its bumps, but you don't have to feel them. Now Midas Gold struts with R2 technology are only $79.95 each, with a lifetime guarantee at any Midas. Go smoothly. Go Midas.
Here you're going to see a great interception by Jim Beltman. He does this so often. He can read the play. He knows exactly where it's going. And watch, we're going to see one here that I thought it looked like it went in behind the goalie. We're going to see in a second. See if this ball gets in. Oh, I guess not.
Off the post, but the net then was moved. Pass for Squire did not work. Beltman couldn't come up with a loose ball, and it's not very often you can say that about Jim Beltman, who had 122 loose balls coming into this game to lead the league. Every year that he has played, he has led the National Lacrosse League in loose balls. Pittsburgh on the offense. Shot by Gait, stopped by Watson. Trying to force the play outside, and now a penalty is coming to Toronto. Hubbard, Jesse Hubbard with an extra runner on the floor. Gary Gait on the far side. Jamie Batley has gone to the front of the net. He's wearing number 26. The shot is driven wide of the Toronto goal, but Gait has it with 8 seconds left in the shot clock. Shear has it blocked. Gait gets it again. Now outside, and a quick shot and a hard shot taken by Jesse Hubbard went wide. And here is the penalty call against Toronto that will send Pittsburgh to their third power play.
We got a white, 7 minor penalty, holding. 2.
Crew Chief Dave Berman of Boston making the call. And Colin Doyle is going to the penalty box. This is the 4th power play opportunity for Pittsburgh. They have 1 power play goal.
And Toronto has 1 shorthanded goal too, Joe. So let's see what happens here. See, Toronto is definitely giving their right shooters the chance to shoot, trying to take away the lefties where the gates are.
Here's Hubbard. Back outside. They're overplaying that side of the floor. Yep. Now here's Shear. His play is stopped. Oh, good collision there between Jesse Hubbard, and Veltman gets the ball out to Clark. To the net, scores! Glenn Clark with a shorthanded goal, and Toronto has taken the lead for just the 2nd time in the game.
Great execution here. Toronto's doing exactly what they want to do on their short man. Good loose ball here, and a great hit actually by Jesse Hubbard before Veltman gets the loose ball and up the floor where Glenn Clark finishes it off.
So Clark has his 4th, or make it 5th of the year, and his 1st shorthanded goal of the year. And Toronto has scored twice shorthanded here against the Pittsburgh power play. Now Gates dishing it off.
See that, Joe? Jim Veltman has picked up every loose ball this quarter.
He is nicknamed Scoop, and it is very adept and very adroit at doing just that.
Well, Toronto did well in that short man, too.
Here's a 2-on-1 rush. Veltman along with Clark. Veltman faking and shooting. That is stopped. Then he throws his man into the goal crease, but he stepped in the crease before he could shoot the ball. Jim Veltman creates quite a bit of havoc down in the Pittsburgh goal crease area.
He put his stick up as if he scored, just in case he could fool somebody there.
Devin Dolly is heading out. We've got a break in the action on the floor with a timeout on the floor, and Molson Rock Lacrosse is brought to you by Molson Export. Rock this. The Toronto Rock bench as Jim Veltman on a short-handed rush, dipsy-doodling, and then got the shot away and then fired. The Pittsburgh defender right into goaltender Devin Dolly, got his shot away, but by then he had a foot inside the crease and it's whistled out.
And not only does Toronto have the best short man team in the league, Joe, but they're also one of the most dangerous for short-handed goals. That's 14 short-handed goals they have now, as opposed to Pittsburgh that only has 4. And in fact, Pittsburgh hasn't allowed that many short-handed goals against. But 2 today, they've got 1 power play and 2 short-handed goals. They're not off to a good start on the power play.
A .632 percentage in penalty killing coming into the game for Toronto.
But Hubbard and Shear, they will get some in because they're going to get the chances.
If they take them.
Well, they will. They'll be told.
Here's Shear inside. Big save Watson. Where's the ball? It's in his pads and played on by Veltman.
What Toronto's got to do, and they've done it so far, is hammer those 2 guys when they shoot. They're going to get their chances, but let them know that they're going to pay for it.
A 6-5 Toronto lead and 23 seconds to kill on the power play. They have 13 seconds now left in the shot clock. So the shot clock will run out before the penalty is over. O'Connor. Gill is over his head. The ball is on the carpet and controlled by Pittsburgh and brought out now quickly up the left side by Berthiaume. Darcy Berthiaume with the shot. Down low is Watson, and he makes the save. Bob Watson now for... Colin Doyle got in a speed wobble going backward.
He tripped over
Couldn't handle it.
Third last seam.
It looked like he had a breakaway. Cantabine for Pittsburgh. Outside for Paul Gait. The brother Gary Gait. They try to work. Tackled, and I do mean tackled by Pat Coyle. There's going to be a penalty here.
I'll give the ref that call.
Coyle's trying to get his stick extricated from the pileup, and Bullen will touch it, and Pat Coyle, the DNA evidence was all over his hand because he literally hauled Gait to the floor.
Can't argue this one. Now, we're going to see it. Pat Coyle actually made an excellent switch on the play. He just got his arms around Gary Gait here. You'll see it was a nice switch. But even in lacrosse, you can't do that, Joe.
You know, if he had a couple of pieces of small rope, he might have been able to hog tie him, too. He looked like he might be working the Calgary Stampede instead. Jesse Hubbard now and Paul Gait exchanging the ball. Hubbard with it now. Doesn't shoot it. Off to the side. Shoulder save made by Watson. Hiltz with the rebound for Pittsburgh. Fresh 30 on the clock. Paul Gait scores from outside. That hard shot by Paul Gait, and he's got the hat trick.
That was really tough. That actually, Watson's got to stop. He has to stop those ones because on that power play they had 4 lefts out there, and he's on his wrong side. But it's still a good shot. I mean, but when you got a guy on the wrong side with nowhere to go, you got to stop those outside shots, even if it is Paul Gait taking the shots.
9:13 the time, and here's a look at Paul Gait, what he's done in the National Lacrosse League.
Yeah, as you can see, the last few years, Gary's sort of been a little bit more stronger, but Paul can score quite a bit too. He's the second all-time scorer in the league. Second in points, third in assists.
Cantabine stopped by Watson. Ball in the crease. Cantabine shoved around by Watson and Pat Coyle. You mentioned about Paul Gait. He came into the game tonight with 319 career goals. His brother Gary had 349 career goals in 80, well, almost 90 some odd games. So these guys are prolific scorers.
And I compared them to Mario Lemieux earlier, and that's really, I think, the best comparison you can make because they are so big and strong. They're 6'2", 220, but they have so much finesse. They have all the skills around the net. They're just so hard to stop.
Kim Squire working in with a shot. That was stopped by Daly. And Doyle couldn't knock down a pass. Dodridge gets it ahead and Tap now working 3-on-2. Tap to the far side. Good play made by Ladouceur to force him wide. Terry Bullen after Gait in the corner. Gait controls the ball. 4:53 to play in the first half. Gait in a 6-6 tie. Ran into a lot of traffic but stayed on his feet with the save made by Bob Whipper Watson. Here's Glenn Clark bringing the ball up the floor for Toronto. Gill sends it over on the far side. Here's O'Connor thinking about getting to the net, then brings it back outside. Gill with it again. Gill's been held off the score sheet, and he's the Rock's leading scorer. Kim Squire, or Rod Squire, a shot that is blocked. The rebound stays in the offensive end, and Gill has it. Gill with a fresh 30 to work with, but offensive players coming out of the door. Rod Squire.
Toronto's got some fresh legs out here against a bunch of tired legs.
A shot by Squire. Backhand shot. No, waved off. They're ruling Squire, I think, in the crease. That is what
I'm not
Paul
sure
Ravery is calling anyway. As we go to commercial break, the game is tied at 6s.
Hello out there. We're on. It's hockey night tonight. Attention goes for the goal zone, and the puck goes down the ice. The goalie jumps and the players come when the fans all go insane. Someone roars, Bobby scores, and the good old hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game.
It's a Canadian game.
Are we into sports or what? Toronto Sun Sports.
Are we into sports or what? Toronto Sun Sports.
Summertime is baseball time, and time for you to catch the Blue Jays with their 7-game power pack. Get great seats for the best teams. Call 416-341-1234. See Jeter, Alomar, Palmeiro, Garciaparra, Rodriguez, Guerrero, and Piazza. Blue Jays 7-game power pack start as low as $49. Great seats, the best teams, the season's hottest games. Buy your power pack today. Call the Blue Jays fan phone at 416-341-1234.
Pat Coyle, this evening's game's taken on the persona of a heavyweight prize fight just the way you like it.
Oh yeah, this is Toronto rock ball that we're playing right now. It's rough, and you know, there's some goals being scored, and there's some people lying on the ground. That's the way we like it.
What about Gary Gait? He's quite a body to handle, quite a bit of poundage as well. All right, best of luck. Back upstairs to you, Joe. This has been a Molson Export Bench Report.
Either Paul puts some equipment on and get out there, or lets Coyle get out into the game. I mean,
just give Coyle a mic, let him run onto the floor. But he mentions how tough Paul Gait is. Pat Coyle is one of the best defensive players in this league. And you saw earlier on where he had to tackle him, take a penalty.
Batley with the pass inside and couldn't control it. Now it's on the floor with Paul Gait trying to get to it, but the time has run out. Toronto with the ball and the chance to bring it up. Veltman. Pass up on the far side, and this is Caleb Toth dropping it back. Steve Toll. O'Connor. Back outside for Toth. Now to Squire, and he whipped it just wide. Rebound to Dan Stroop. On the near wing, corralled by Chris Gill. Gill with an avenue to the net, scores! It was only a matter of time that Toronto's leading scorer would find the back of the old onion bag, and he does right there.
Even though Gill hasn't scored any goals up to this point, he was doing a great job on the loose balls, and this starts with a loose ball too. But he's so good at going down low one-on-one. It's like Tavares with that dive. You look like you have nothing to shoot at, and you take that last dive. Here you're gonna see no angle unless you go in the air. Beautiful play, and there was a nice pick by Squire to help cut off the defender on that play.
Third time Toronto's led in the game. Gill with his 25th of the year at 12:08, an unassisted goal. And the Rock get the ball right back off the faceoff.
I think Jim Veltman's got about 8 loose balls this quarter alone, Joe.
Veltman has the ball and now dishes it off to Kim Squire. Squire fakes, shoots, just missed the net. Langdale on the far side. Langdale works back to the other side, then fakes, then fanned on the shot as he tried to send it low. Kicked in front of the net, but it's scooped up by Kip Folks, and Folks scampers up the floor with Veltman chasing. Folks pulls it up.
Toronto wasn't going to be fooled by his speed that time. You saw Veltman and Toll right on him.
This is Matt Shear, number 17. Went to Loyola College. Loose now for Gait. Tried that behind the back shot that he scored on in the first period. And now Steve Toll trying to get the ball free, and he does. Quickly gets it ahead for Glenn Clark. Toronto changing with 1:47, but it's been a much better second period for Toronto than they have had in previous games. Brian, as you pointed out.
It has, and it's very important. You're going to see timeout soon, I would think, that they finish strong.
Here's a chance. Toll, stop, rebound. Squire sends his man. He reached around and grabbed Darcy Berthium, and Kim Squire, or Rod Squire rather, is going to the box. Let's listen in to Paul Ravery. Yeah, he's pretty quiet this time.
Yeah. I think we could just count on it being a holding call. That's what we've seen mostly today.
Well, Toronto's had 2 power play opportunities. This is Pittsburgh's 6th. But I can't argue too much with that call.
No.
He put the stick in the arm around him and hauled him down.
No, but you don't want to be taking penalties in the offensive end unless you're stopping a potential breakaway.
This is Berthium, or Shearer rather, now to the far side for Doddridge. Joe Hiltz.
Here you got Gait on his wrong side again.
Yep, and Hiltz with the shot that's wide, and the rebound is going to go over and back. Minute to go in the first half, minute 34 in the power play, and there will be a change of possession here unless Toronto can get a shot on goal and get a rebound.
It's interesting, Pittsburgh's so confident in Gary Gait's skills, or Paul Gait that was there, that they're willing to play him on the wrong side of the floor. You never see a power play where you put a left shooter on the wrong side. I guess they figure he's got a better chance of scoring than Jesse Hubbard from up there.
Doyle, and is this maybe to try and get away from Toronto's overreaction to the other side?
Well, that's exactly what it is. They're overloading the left, so they say, okay, let's put one of the Gaits on the right and see what they do.
Now we've got a timeout called here as Colin Doyle tries to maybe squeeze one in the short side here, going around back of the net.
This is actually a move made famous by the Gait brothers. They became famous. They were the first ones in field lacrosse to do what has become known as an air gate, and that was diving from behind the net. Those guys went down, they played college lacrosse in Syracuse, and they broke all the rules. They broke the rules of what you can and can't do. You should, before they came along, you should never pass over your shoulder. You should never do any of the fancy stuff. Now it's fully accepted because they showed that it could be done effectively.
If you want to get involved, the next home game is against Albany on next Saturday afternoon. And there's the number to get tickets for the Toronto Rock. And of course, this game tonight will go a long way, possibly not only to ensuring the Rock a playoff spot, but maybe a home floor advantage at least for the semifinal. Last year, of course, they finished first and had home floor advantage for the entire playoffs, and it was certainly a significant factor in going to their first National Lacrosse League title. Boys with the hard hats on are in the rock pile.
Yes, Joe, this is an absolutely huge game. I mean, both these teams could finish either in first or even right out of the playoffs.
Paul Gait bringing it up. There's 56 seconds left in the penalty, but just 20 seconds left in the period. And the shot clock mirrors the time clock here with time left.
Got Hubbard back on.
Hubbard outside. See if they force it now. He does, and he shoots wide. Rebound with 3 seconds to Gary Gait. 1 second left. He's not going to get it away in time, although it was close. But that is the end of the first half, and it was an exciting first half at Maple Leaf Gardens as the Toronto Rock, who scored first in the game, score last in the half and are leaders by just a single goal after the first half of play. Let's go downstairs now to Paul Hendrick.
Thanks very much, Joe. Joined by defender Dan Ladouceur. What a great fight on hand here tonight at Maple Leaf Gardens. Paul Gait has 3 goals, Gary Gait none. It's pretty tough to corral both those guys, but you've done a good job in one of them.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, you're not going to keep those guys off the sheets. No, all we're doing is try to contain them as best we can. They got some great help in Shearer and Hiltzy and Doddridge. So, I mean, we got a lot of guys we got to look after out here.
Take a breather, well-deserved. Looking forward to a great second half.
Thanks, Paul.
Dan Ladouceur of the Toronto Rock, and what a great half it has been. 7-6 our score. You're watching the National Lacrosse League from Maple Leaf Gardens on Sportsnet.
The 4-door Cavalier now comes with air conditioning, ABS, and 4-speed automatic. With enhanced traction control. The Chevrolet Cavalier 2000 Value Package. More features than ever. 1.9% purchase financing or $218 a month.
I'm a busy person. I don't have a whole lot of spare time in the day. Banking online is incredibly convenient. I log on to AOL Canada, a couple of clicks, and you're there. You don't have to keep banker's hours.
With all new pricing, including unlimited use, you can stay online as long as you want.
Yamaha YZF-R series. No compromise.
I write fiction, I write horror, I edit Northern Fusion magazine. I think AOL Canada makes that very exciting and very easy for me to do without having to have a lot of expertise. I can focus on my craft.
With all new pricing, including unlimited use, you can stay online as long as you want.
Log on to the hottest sports website in Canada, ctvsportsnet.com. It's TV on demand with full streaming video of Sports Central, the Hezzy Awards, the hockey news, and ice time. Daily columns from some of the most respected sports journalists in Canada. Plus, all the breaking news, scores, and stats. So when you log on for sports information, there's only one place to go, ctvsportsnet.com. The home for big-time and big event sports coverage is CTV Sportsnet. Hockey's best games and biggest stars are on the net. Join Jim Houston and Craig Simpson for NHL Game Night throughout the season and into the playoffs. Sportsnet is also hot with NBA hoop action, featuring local coverage of the Raptors and Grizzlies. But whatever your game, tune into Sports Central with an expert team of hosts, analysts, and reporters. We're your sports source 24/7. CTV Sportsnet. Game day, every day.
And welcome back to Maple Leaf Gardens, where the score at halftime, the Toronto Rock 7 and the visiting Pittsburgh Crossfire 6. Welcome back to our Chevy Trucks Rock Report, brought to you by Chevy Trucks Like a Rock. And a pleasure to welcome arguably one of the greatest players ever to play this game, the pride of Victoria, British Columbia, Gary Gait. Gary, a predicted prize fight here tonight. Flip a coin, it's that close.
Oh, it's going to be a great game. There's a lot of lacrosse left, though, and the team that wants it the most and makes the least mistakes is going to come out on top.
You've had an opportunity to play in some great lacrosse cities, won a championship in Detroit, a championship in Philadelphia. How difficult a transition is it to convert the fans on the other side of the state in Pittsburgh to love the game of lacrosse?
Oh, we're working hard at it, and tonight could be a big step. We proved that we're a playoff caliber team. I think they'll really step up and back us.
Family that stays together, plays together. Brother Paul traded for. He is playing his best lacrosse ever. What does it mean to him to have you on his side? I know in terms of goals, he's doubled his output since.
He's just doing a great job stepping up and putting the ball in net, and that's what we needed out of him, and that's why he's here.
You had an opportunity with your brother last year to win a Man Cup with the Victoria Shamrocks, your last ever Man Cup championship. Reflect back last summer and what it meant to bring another championship back home and to bring it together with your brother.
Oh, it meant a lot. The fans and family back home in Victoria, they're great people, and to go back and do it for them was, just a unique opportunity to, storybook ending to a Canadian box career.
You've had an opportunity to play the game of lacrosse for almost your entire life, and you've had a chance to see the world and coach in places like Japan. What a tremendous experience.
Oh, getting around, seeing the world, it's been a great opportunity, a great ride, and, I'm looking forward to continue, coaching and playing throughout the rest of my career.
No more lacrosse as far as playing is concerned in the summertime. I guess you've got to give the body a break, but there are many more opportunities associated with this game, and you want to capitalize on that.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking still to play. There's a new pro indoor league starting up. I'm looking to give my hand at that in the summers, and, it's just that concrete's pretty hard, and it was just time to take a break and concentrate on the family close to home.
As well, during the off-season, you get a chance to coach women in field lacrosse. Maybe you can tell us more about that, because this is a new experience that we don't often hear about up here.
Oh, actually, yeah, University of Maryland Women's Lacrosse Program, assistant coach down there. And in fact, there's more Division I women's lacrosse teams than there are men's in the U.S., and it's just been a great experience there, working with Cindy Timshaw. We won the last 5 straight national championships.
Well, Wayne Gretzky has often been referred to as the Gary Gait of hockey, and of course we'd inverse that as well. Gary, thanks for dropping by. We look forward to a tremendous second half.
Thank you.
Gary Gait of the Pittsburgh Crossfire, the Crossfire trailing the Toronto Rock by 1.
If you're looking for horsepower, look at Chevy Silverado, because Silverado has the most powerful V8 of any 4x4 pickup. More powerful than Dodge, more powerful than Ford, 300 horsepower. That's why it's the truck. Silverado from Chevy.
As a new mom, I don't have time to shower, let alone go to the bank. It's nice to have the option to do your banking online with AOL Canada, and it makes life a lot easier.
With all new pricing, including unlimited use, you can stay online as long as you want.
Life has its bumps, but you don't have to feel them. Now Midas Gold struts with R2 technology are only $79.95 each, with a lifetime guarantee at any Midas. Go smoothly. Go Midas.
I use the instant messenger system on AOL Canada to talk to my friends. That's really cool because the three of us can go into one chat room and talk together. It's better than the phone.
With all new pricing, including unlimited use, you can stay online as long as you want.
Are we into sports or what? Toronto Sun Sports. Are we into sports or what? Toronto Sun Sports.
Life has its bumps, but you don't have to feel them. Now Midas Gold struts with R2 technology are only $79.95 each, with a lifetime guarantee at any Midas. Go smoothly. Go Midas.
30 minutes in the books at Maple Leaf Gardens here tonight, and the Toronto Rock on top by 1 over the Pittsburgh Crossfire, a score of 7-6. We take you live inside the Toronto Rock dressing room where we are set and prepared to talk with Colin Doyle. Colin, with one shorthanded goal in the first half and power plays and special teams so very important, 2 shorthanded goals, and the transitional game working well in that fast break.
Yeah, the boys are doing a good job getting the ball up the floor, and that's what makes a big difference when we make their big guns run back on D. Clarkie's doing a heck of a job, Jimmy. So from that standpoint, short man, we're getting the ball up the floor and it's working great. Power play, I don't think we've had too many opportunities, but I think we'll see some. They're getting pretty chippy. We'll see some opportunities in the second half.
You've certainly carried a hot hand as of late, and the club has ridden high on that as well.
Yeah, you know, it's a team effort. When everybody else is scoring, you see defenders have to D up on everybody, so they're not keying in on anybody. So when they do that, you know, everybody's open, and the boys are putting the ball in the net.
Talked with Dan Ladouceur about stopping the Gait brothers. Paul's got 3 goals. Gary has been shut out. For a guy like you who, of course, concentrates on scoring goals, how difficult is it to get back into defensive transition and do your job at the other end of the floor?
Well, I haven't had much experience with the defensive end of the floor, but our guys seem to be doing a good job offensively, getting to the bench, letting our big D guys get back and get in the Gates' face. You know, we're not going to keep Gary off the board. He's going to score, but we just got to limit his effort and limit that of Paul. Maybe keep him quiet the rest of the game, and we're going to win this game.
Thanks, Colin. Coach Bartley has some words to say to you guys. Let's send it upstairs to Joe and Brian.
Thanks very much, Paul. Well, it's been an exciting first half of play. Gary Gait has been held off the score sheet, but Paul Gate's been terrific, and he has put on a bit of a demonstration at times, Brian.
Yeah, he's got 3 goals, and we're going to see one of his goals here in a second. Here you're going to see Joey Hiltz gets the ball to Gait, and he's been able to score from all sides. He's been scoring the outside shots, and here you see him from the wrong side, a nice hard shot, just bounces it through.
As far as the Rock are concerned, Gill has been their leading scorer throughout the course of the season, and Chris Gill shows why he's fearless at going to the net.
Oh, exactly. He was quiet for most of the half. He was getting a few loose balls, but here he gets his own loose ball and dives for the net. That was just like we saw Tavares do a couple weeks ago.
So the Rock lead by a single goal heading into the second half, and Toronto Rock Lacrosse brought to you by AOL Canada. New pricing, unlimited use. Stay on as long as you want. The Volk family in attendance tonight as the Toronto Rock lead the Pittsburgh Crossfire 7-6 at halftime.
Hey, I'm not a lumberjack or a fur trader, and I don't live in an igloo or eat blubber or own a dog sled. And I don't know Jimmy, Sally, or Susie from Canada, although I'm certain they're really, really nice. I have a prime minister, not a president. I speak English and French, not American, and I pronounce it about, not a boot. I can proudly sew my country's flag on my backpack. I believe in peacekeeping, not policing. diversity, not assimilation, and that the beaver is a truly proud and noble animal. A toque is a hat, a Chesterfield is a coach, and it is pronounced Zed, not Z-Z. Canada is the second largest landmass, the first nation of hockey, and the best part of North America. My name is Joe, and I am Canadian.
Thank you.
I'm a busy person. I don't have a whole lot of spare time in the day. Banking online is incredibly convenient. I log on to AOL Canada, a couple of clicks, and you're there. You don't have to keep banker's hours.
With all new pricing, including unlimited use, you can stay online as long as you want.
Yamaha YZF-R series. No compromise.
You know, I hear they used to play hockey in this place. Yeah, I heard that too.
Hockey's not a bad game.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's a little slow.
Toronto Rock Lacrosse is here. Get your tickets now and get ready to rock.
I write fiction, I write horror, I edit Northern Fusion magazine. I think AOL Canada makes that very exciting and very easy for me to do without having to have a lot of expertise. I can focus on my craft.
With all new pricing, including unlimited use, you can stay online as long as you want.
Coaches Les Bartley and John Tucker have their charges ready for the second half here at Maple Leaf Gardens, with the Rock leading 7-6. And thus far, the most penalized team in the National Lacrosse League, the Pittsburgh Crossfire, have stayed out of the penalty box. It has been the Rock who've been in there, and they start the second half a man down with Squire in the box.
So far, Toronto's done a great job killing penalties. Pittsburgh, I think, has scored one power play goal, but Toronto scored two shorthanded.
And they have the ball now, and ample opportunity to kill off the remaining 16 seconds of the advantage for Pittsburgh. This is Kim Squire.
You can see Kim limping out there, Joe.
Yeah, it's going to be a while before that leg's 100%, I'm sure. Toll decides to shoot it, and that's steered aside by Dali. A collision in the corner, and we're going to have another penalty here. This one's going to go to Steve Toll. So the power play will end and then begin. Candabine dropping it off, and Paul Gait has an extra runner on the floor with goaltender Dali out of the net. Pass across, didn't shoot it. Hubbard holds the ball. Gary Gait behind the back pass out to Paul. Hubbard, pass intercepted by Toll, and he hears the penalty call.
I think this is Colin Doyle's third penalty here. I don't know if he's calling hitting from behind or charging. Oh, actually, it's not Colin Doyle, it's Steve Toll. We're going to see it. It was in the corner on the offensive end here. It's hard to tell how bad it is when you watch it in slow motion. It always looks worse in slow motion.
Yes, it does. Just ask Colin Campbell. Shot stopped by Watson. Flip back out for Paul Gait. Hubbard shoots it, stopped by Watson. Veltman in traffic, lost the ball. Matt Shear taken down by
Coyle there.
Was it ever? And then a nice intercept by Joe Hill.
Nice intercept, but it was an over and back. Chet Couture caught that.
Yep, good call by the officials, so Toronto will maintain possession.
In fact, that was a beautiful intercept by Joe Hill because he stopped a potential breakaway.
Dan Stroop. Toronto a man short, but have scored twice and now have 14 short-handed goals, as they are 2 back of the league leader in that department. Rochester has 16. Quickly up the floor for Fulks.
This time he decides not to go to the net. Toronto is well aware of him after being burned a few times.
Gary Gait on the far side. Now back, Paul Gait has it to his brother Gary. The Gates are twin brothers, and they are going to be 33 years of age on April the 5th, and another penalty coming, and they score. Paul Gait, a one-handed shot to tie the game at 7s when Toronto was once again going to be penalized, so this power play is going to continue.
Oh, and Toronto's not happy about that, and I'd like to see that again. I didn't see what happened there that they were calling the penalty on. You're going to see, I thought this was just good coverage. Now, it's hard to tell whether that's acting or, in spite of that, it was a beautiful goal, a one-handed slam dunk. Paul Gait scores his 4th goal.
4th of the game, 32nd of the season. And a power play goal, the 2nd of the game for Pittsburgh. And Bullen gets a penalty, so the first penalty is up, but now the second one that was called, so another 2-minute minor, and Toronto has been a man short for 8 times.
That's a tough break. They were doing a good coverage job.
Veltman with the ball. And a tie game, 7-7 here in Toronto. Gait picked it off, reaching around, now trying to reach around. Gait is Caleb Toth, but he couldn't get it away from him. Hiltz.
Now, the referees can't call a penalty every time a Gait goes down. Now, that's sometimes a problem. Gates aren't stupid.
Veltman is nailed by Hubbard, and that draws a crowd, and Pat Coyle saying something to Hubbard, and Veltman's up onto his feet. Veltman wearing some knee protection. He's got a couple of real rug burns on those knees from the game last week in Philadelphia, and here's a look at him getting pasted into the corner boards as he goes after a loose ball.
Another hit from behind. Now that looked worse to me than the one that Toll got. I don't think Veltman had the ball at the time of the hit there.
So Hubbard, 47 seconds into the power play, is called, and Toronto will get an abbreviated power play in 1:13. Game tied 7-7 early here in the third quarter. Chris Langdale in for Dan Stroop. Third-year player from New Westminster. Stroop with a shot over top of the net. Tim Squire intercepts and looks for a man, then shot, scores! That took a funny hop right at the feet of Devin Dowley, and Kimbo Squire has his 2nd goal of the game, and Toronto has restored the lead.
When you're a goal scorer, the ball has eyes. It never stops to amaze me how many times I think he's got nothing to shoot at, and it squeezes in. And that one, like you said, it took a funny bounce off the leap. You're going to see there's a spin on it here. You don't see it so well there, but he always seems to find an opening, and that's why he's such a great scorer, Kim Squire.
Here's Veltman, quick inside pass, shot, scores! Glenn Clark on a great feed from Jim Veltman, and Toronto has opened up a 2-goal lead with goals very quickly on a 4-on-4 situation.
Again, it's a loose ball. Loose balls, the goal starts with a loose ball by Jimmy Veltman, gets it up to Clark, who's having a great season, scoring his 7th goal. 6th goal, excuse me. It really helps when their defensive players are plugging in with a few goals here and there. And that's one thing that Toronto has got this year from all their guys. Pat Coyle got one last week.
Brian, 2 goals, 8 seconds apart. And Clark has his 2nd goal of the game and his 6th of the year. And Toronto has opened up a 2-goal lead with goals 8 seconds apart. Here is Paul Gait. He has been dynamite here for Pittsburgh. And a shot, and Watson had to be careful there. Then another shot, and Watson may have got a piece of that. Veltman sends it across, and Glenn Clark starts out. Toronto about to go to a power play in a dozen seconds' time. Dan Stroop. Lays it back to O'Connor. Ryan O'Connor for for Colin Doyle. They stretch things out as Bullen is out of the penalty box. Waiting now for the other offensive player, and Toth comes onto the floor. Doyle to Toth. His shot bounces over top of the goal. Time runs out on the shot clock. And so Pittsburgh will control the ball with 33 seconds left in the penalty. Stroop trying to check Paul Cantabine. Rochester, New York native gets it through and weaves his way through traffic. Taken towards the near boards. Cantabine still with it. Serpentining his way through the Toronto defense. Gait. 6 seconds left in the shot clock. Paul Gait is not, yes, he did get it away, but right on, and boy, his timing there was impeccable.
That was a backhand shot from 3/4 mark of the floor, and that was a good hard shot.
Chris Langdale, the penalty is over. Team's back at full and even strength with 9:47 to play here in the third period. Beltman, Squire. This is Rod Squire. Now Kim Squire. Look at him dance to Rod, and the shot is right on, and the two Squire boys working well. Not quite as famous offensively as the Gates, but the Squires, nonetheless, are a talented group for the Toronto Rock. And a steal here by
Great
Steve
steal.
Toll. Toll in, shoots, scores over the shoulder. A 3-goal lead, and Steve Toll has opened up a biggest lead of the game for either team.
That was an absolutely beautiful goal. You're going to see it. He steals the ball. Nice stick check at center floor. There you see, he steals the ball. Now, earlier in the season, Toll was getting a breakaways. He couldn't buy a goal. Well, now they're starting to go in. That was his 7th goal. He scored a couple in Philly. And this really makes a difference on their offense. They've got Kim Squires back, has got a couple. Toll is scoring. Caleb Toth has got a couple.
And the big gun, Chris Gill, has just one. So the scoring has been very much spread around. Colin Doyle has just one.
But if they're to pull it off here in Toronto, it's going to be their defense that does it. The key of this is going to be stopping or minimizing the Gates. I guess you can't stop them.
You can see Jim Beltman
slow it down.
Slow it down.
Exactly.
Take your time here. We got a 3-goal lead. Make sure we use the clock.
Well, take your time on offense. Keep the Gates off the floor.
Stroop with the shot. That is scooped up there on a good save by Dolly. Brought back up the floor by Pittsburgh. Now trailing 10-7. Paul Gait. And Cantabine in the middle, but Gait decides to take it to the right side. Gait trying to work the pick, then shovels it off. Gary Gait's shot went wide, and he paid for it with a good hit. He got flattened by Pat Coyle just after releasing the ball. Watson plays on for Stroop. 8 minutes left in the third period. The first and third quarters have been Toronto's best, but they had an outstanding second quarter as Colin Doyle loses the ball on the floor. There's a stick free. Doyle knocks his man down, still loose, but time ticking off. There's 1 second left in the shot clock, and then a hit that sends Doddridge to the floor, and we've got a break in the action. The Toronto Rock lead the Pittsburgh Crossfire 10-7.
Life has its bumps, but you don't have to feel them. Now Midas Gold struts with R2 technology are only $79.95 each, with a lifetime guarantee at any Midas. Go smoothly. Go Midas.
If you think all ATVs are created equal, you've never ridden a Yamaha. The new Kodiak 400 Automatic and Big Bear 400 from Yamaha. 'Cause out here, bears rule.
we into sports or what? Toronto Sun Sports. Are we into sports or what? Toronto Sun Sports.
Life has its bumps, but you don't have to feel them. Now Midas Gold struts with R2 technology are only $79.95 each, with a lifetime guarantee at any Midas. Go smoothly. Go Midas.
Molson Export Rock Lacrosse, brought to you in part by Molson Export. Rock this. And by Chevy Trucks, like a rock. 10-7 Toronto. Gary Gait dishing it off. Now brother Paul Gait gets a pick from his brother, then a shot. Owen Watson got a piece of that and hung on. Terry Bullen bringing it up. Toronto Rock have limited the Pittsburgh Crossfire, the highest scoring team in the National Lacrosse League, to 7 goals. It's been offense against defense, and thus far the Rock have the lead. Stroop. Toth. Caleb Toth. Will he shoot it? No, gets a bit of a pick. Now gets some room, but he fanned on it as it rolled out of his stick and went wide. 22 seconds, though, left on the shot clock. Gill directing traffic. Toth gets a pick there from O'Connor. Toth passed back to O'Connor, but he never got the shot away as he was well covered there in front of the net.
O'Connor was having a nice battle with Keith Gonzolin there. Threw a nice pick and went to the net, almost scored a goal, almost got a scoring chance there. They're playing some tough defense, Pittsburgh, right now.
A loose ball on the carpet is dug out by Clark. Clark along with Rory Graham, 2-on-2. Graham pulls it up, and now a change of players coming for Les Bartley and his Toronto Rock. Colin Doyle gets things set up at half court. Now off to Toll. Beltman. Langdale. Pass for Doyle didn't work. Tim Squire with the ball on the carpet. And Paul Cantabine is able to scoop it up here for Pittsburgh. Gets away from the checking there of Steve Toll. Toll chasing after Cantabine. Cantabine taking it inside. And the pass went for Matt Shear, and he shot it before he had any contact with it.
I'm surprised that Cantabine even made that pass. He had an opening. He could have ran right down the middle.
Tim Squire takes a shot, and so does Chris Langdale as he's heading to the bench.
And Jamie Batley and Chris Langdale were going at it a little bit there. There's two players that are familiar with each other in the summer.
Dan Stroop.
Jamie Batley was just added to the Pittsburgh lineup today. He played for Buffalo last year.
Here's O'Connor. O'Connor dishing it off. Rod Squire. And the shot, and that was stopped on the short side by Dully. Here the Rock changing players. The defensive team comes on as Hiltz brings it up for Pittsburgh. Joe Hiltz. Now for Paul Gait, or Gary Gait rather. He had it knocked out of his stick by Jim Beltman. Now they have to switch as Pat Coyle is on Gait. Behind the back pass. Cross floor off of Pittsburgh's stick as Hiltz had it deflect into the crowd and out of play. A break in the action here at Maple Leaf Gardens as the Toronto Rock lead by 3.
What? Nobody shaves during the playoffs.
It's a Canadian game.
You know, I hear they used to play hockey in this place. Yeah, I heard that too.
Hockey's not a bad game.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's a little slow.
Toronto Rock Lacrosse is here. Get your tickets now and get ready to rock.
Resisted barbarians, overpowered savages, thwarted the uncivilized. And that was just on the drive to work. Chevy Blazer. Steel reinforced double wall doors, powerful Vortec engine. A little security in an insecure world. Chevy Blazer, like a rock.
3 goals for Paul Gait tonight. Paul, the coaching staff here wanting more effort from you guys out there here to start the second half.
Yeah, our offense is a little sluggish. We need to get the ball working. We need to get our feet moving a little more, and if we get that going, we'll be all right.
Thank you, Paul. This has been another Molson Export Bench Report. Joe.
Thanks very much, Paul Hendrick. Colin Doyle with the ball, looked for Squire, couldn't get it, then Squire is tackled from behind by Kip Folks as the play goes on. Brought back up now by Rodney Tapp. Tapp, fake, pass and a shot, now dishes it back. Here's Gait with a hard shot, stopped by Watson, who came out smartly to get a bit of an angle on that shot. Brian Shanahan, the Gates are identical twins. I know other twins pull fast ones on people. Is it a possibility of doing it in lacrosse?
There's one story, Joe. They were playing a field lacrosse game for Team Canada late in a tied game. Gary Gait used an illegal stick. It was too short. It's awfully tough to get the ball off you when you have a short stick. But anyhow, the American team all knew he was doing this. So as soon as the goal was scored, they ran to the referee and ran after him to call the illegal stick. Well, as the two brothers congratulated each other, they switched sticks, and Paul walked off the field with the illegal stick. They did this check on Gary's stick, which was fine, and nobody figured it out until they told him what happened afterwards.
Well, maybe they wrote each other's tests in high school too, did they?
That's right.
Here's Paul Gait for Joe Hiltz. Hiltz, a long pass to the far side and a quick shot taken there by Matt Shear, went over top of the goal. Paddy Coyle, who's played a strong game here for Toronto physically in this game, and now we get a whistle with some shoving going on with Jamie Batley, who's been under the skin of a couple of the Toronto players. Paddy Coyle has just 1 goal and 4 assists, but he's been strong defensively. Tonight's Rock broadcast brought to you in part by Yamaha, exceeding expectations. And by Midas, car care the way it should be. It is a cross-checking call, and again it goes to Toronto. Graham.
Toronto's got to watch that. Jamie Batley earlier on was getting under Chris Langdale's skin as the two were running to the bench. There's a bit of late stuff happening on the way to the bench. And that time, whatever he did to Rory Graham got him to retaliate. And Rory Graham was the only one to get caught.
9th power play opportunity here for Pittsburgh. The Rock have had 3. And 2 of them have been abbreviated ones when something happened while Pittsburgh was on the power play. So penalty killing has been a big factor in this game, and Toronto has done an excellent job of it. Good hit there by Coyle. Loose ball, Bullen pokes it free. This is Glenn Clark, 1-on-1. Matt Shear is back, and Clark decides he can't press the issue and would like to kill off some time. Kim Squire, who has shown a great deal of resilience here in his first game back since breaking his leg.
Yeah, the doctors gave him the clearance to play, and they said he's not going to do himself any harm, but he is going to be in pain. And
he'll be sore tomorrow. If he had to play back-to-back games, it might be a little tough.
He won't be 100% all season, I'm sure.
But half of Kim Squire is better than most, because he's gotten 2 here tonight already. Here's Paul Gait, Shear, Gary Gait being forced out inside for Hubbard, and a quick shot and a nice save made by Watson. He made an excellent save on Joe Hiltz. Lead pass for Clark again. Clark with a glance at the clock. He sees 31 seconds remaining in the penalty and decides to pull it out. Chris Gill. Caleb Toth. Now to Dan Scroop, New Westminster firefighter who works in Vancouver. Stroop will shoot it, fired it wide, rebound, scores! Great hand-eye coordination there. Caleb Toth looked for the rebound off the end board and jams in the Rock's third short-handed goal of the game.
And you're going to see they gave Dan Stroop a little bit too much room. You're going to see where he comes around. He's got a little bit too much room. He can step in right there. He sees the opening. And it's always great to shoot because this is what happens. You get the rebounds.
13:53. The Toronto Rock have scored the last 4 goals. And they've opened up an 11-7 advantage with them.
And like you said, Joe, short-handed. That's a key. Not only are they doing a good job killing penalties, I think there's been only 2 power play goals, but they've scored 3 short-handed goals. Now they've got to try to stay out of the penalty box, though, but so far they've been doing great in spite of it.
Well, they've played physical. They've paid for that physical action with penalties, but their penalty killing has been exceptional.
You see, Jamie Batley's getting one here. Jamie Batley.
Batley and it was Veltman, or no, Graham, I guess, who were battling.
Well, you see what's happened here is I think their coach has noticed that Jamie Batley's getting under the skin of everybody in the Rock, and they're sending him out to draw some penalties right now. Batley hasn't played all year. He's not in great shape. He's not going to give much offense to Pittsburgh at this point in the season. But if he can draw penalties. Now that time it backfired because I'm sure the referees are watching for it.
Watch to the left of your screen here.
There you see Batley.
The elbow.
Just missed it. I just missed it there. I don't know if you saw it, Joe, to the left of your screen. He's been doing that stuff all night, and I think that's the first time he got caught.
4th power play of the game for Toronto. Stroop, Squire, off the crossbar. Doyle, Toth, hard shot, blocked. Neil Doddridge paid for that one. He took that one right in the snout. Toth. Can't find Kim Squire, who's knocked down from behind.
Nice hit.
And then Doyle flattens his man. And back up is Neil Doddridge. A break in the action here with Pittsburgh trailing Toronto 11-7.
Hey, I'm not a lumberjack or a fur trader, and I don't live in an igloo or eat blubber or own a dog sled, and I don't know Jimmy, Sally, or Susie from Canada, although I'm certain they're really, really nice. I have a prime minister, not a president. I speak English and French, not American, and I pronounce it about, not a boot. I can proudly sew my country's flag on my backpack. I believe in peacekeeping, not policing. Diversity, not assimilation, and that the beaver is a truly proud and noble animal. A toque is a hat, a Chesterfield is a coach, and it is pronounced Z, not Z. Canada is the 2nd largest landmass, the first nation of hockey, and the best part of North America. My name is Joe, and I am Canadian. Thank you.
As a new mom, I don't have time to shower, let alone go to the bank. It's nice to have the option to do your banking online with Air Canada, and it makes life a lot easier.
With all new pricing, including unlimited use, you can stay online as long as you want.
YZF-R series. No compromise.
I use the instant messenger system on Air Canada to talk to my friends. That's really cool because the 3 of us can go into one chat room and talk together. It's better than the phone.
With all new pricing, including unlimited use, you can stay online as long as you want.
I'm Darren Millard. We at the Hockey News are willing to sign you to a contract if you participate in our puck pool. A lot has been said between the Philadelphia
Crossfire 11-7 as we get set for the start of the 4th quarter. And Toronto's Colin Doyle has been penalized for that play at the conclusion of the third period. Referee Dave Berman getting things set at center, with Rory Graham and Paul Cantabine getting set to face off as you see Doyle in the penalty box.
Well, Doyle definitely gave a high stick to Neil Doddridge. But
now here's Kip Fulks with that great speed, and he scores right off the face-off.
He's fast.
Oh, is he ever quick. Kip Fulks ends a 4-0 run for the Toronto Rock and gets the Crossfire back into the game, trailing 11-8.
Well, he's got 2 of their power play goals, and both of them been right off the face-off.
That won't be a power play goal, as they're at even strength here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm just helping you out.
Thanks. Thank you.
Slide it through. Now Tapp trying to bring it back. And it bears mentioning what you showed earlier on, Brian, about the second and fourth periods, and the Rock have struggled as far as shots on goal are concerned. Second period has been their worst. They corrected that tonight as they outshot Pittsburgh 16-12 and outscored them 3-2. Chance inside, shot stopped, rebound goes over top of the net. And then a hit from behind sends the Toronto player Gill into the boards. Beltman chasing on Doddridge. Now here's the ball over on the far side for Gary Gait. Gait, the veteran, drops it off. Here's Hubbard inside, and the shot is a little high. Almost into the red seats off the facing in behind goaltender Bob Watson. And Watson, the Guelph native, a second-team All-Pro in '98 and '99, has been outstanding again tonight. Kim Squire with the shot, and that just went wide of the post. Now Toronto is short-handed for the 10th time in the game.
Kim Squires is showing that Gary and Paul Gates aren't the only players who can shoot one-handed.
Kim Squire against the boards, gets a little screen action from brother Rod. And the Squire boys are doing a nice job of penalty killing here. 14 seconds left in the infraction and 20 seconds on the clock. Kim Squire from Brantford, Ontario. Both are iron workers with the Iroquois Structural Steel Company. You gotta have nerves of steel to work that business, and they've got it here on the floor too. Doyle goes over top his man. Now back into the attack comes Pittsburgh. Paul Gait. Outside shot by Shear, too far. On the right side as Viscarado couldn't get a shot away. Now into the slot, picked off by Doyle on a good collision in the goal crease.
Beautiful head fake by Paul Gait there. He just dodged around the player just with a shake of the head.
Here's Gill. On the far side, O'Connor sets it up, and now Dan Stroop looked for Gill inside, who was trying to make a move. Now gets a bit of a pick, flipped inside. Gill scores! Oh my! What a great goal that is! And Toronto restores the 4-goal bulge. What a nice pass!
You're right, Joe. That was an absolute beauty. And you see Gill and Stroop can still work their magic. They've been relatively quiet today. But you see Gill is coming around from the left-hand side. You can't see him right here. Or sorry, Stroop was, and Gill cuts in. Beautiful play. These two are always aware of where the other one is on the floor. I think that's Chris Gill's second goal of the game.
26th of the season, Brian. Dan Stroop.
They're getting a lot of balance today, the Rock has on their offense, and that's a big difference when Colin Doyle is contributing. Kim Squires is back with a couple, and then you're getting Caleb Toth is really coming into his own.
Stroop with a couple of assists on Toth's goal and Gill's here in the second half. They have opened up the 4-goal lead. Dan Ladouceur trying to keep Gait outside. Now an inside shot taken by Cantabine that stopped. Jamming at it is Gait. Backhand over top is blocked. on the floor. Matt Shear trying to get it away from Beltman, but the vacuum cleaner has it, and out come the Toronto Rock. Graham gives an outlet for Clark and then heads to the bench. The Rock organizing things with their second last home game this season. They've got Albany here next Saturday afternoon at the Gardens. A shot stop, Stroop diving, and it went wide. Colin Doyle tried to outmuscle his man. Pass back of the net, Squire is jammed in against the wall. Knocked down on the play, slammed it against the boards as Kip Fultz. They're fighting it out in the phone booth. And it's finally whistled down. Oh, brother. Referee.
And that's something else that Kim Squires brings to this team. He has got great intensity on these loose balls.
Now, button your chin strap because you're coming right into your living room right here. How would you like to do this for the afternoon?
That was a nice slash to the leg.
Sit on you here. And then take that as Tapp decides that he's had enough of Kim Squire.
Kim Squires takes it personally anytime somebody takes the ball off him. And I know even in a practice, take the ball off him, he gets very angry.
Well, his intensity was showing right there. Toth trying to set a pick for Dan Stroop. Connor on the move. Now Stroop fakes the net, goes back outside. Rod Squire can't shoot it, lost the ball. Time ticking away with 1 second left, and there's the horn as Toronto is guilty of too much time on the attack. Doldridge.
It's actually a good sign for Toronto. I know there's still a lot of time left in the game, but they should be taking as much time on the offense as they can. So the odd time they're going to get called for.
Now another penalty, but it will be not gated, as scoring on the play is Jesse Hubbard. He was the NCAA Rookie of the Year at Princeton University in '95 and a 3-time All-American. And Jesse Hubbard cuts the margin to 12-9.
Actually, Jesse Hubbard has actually had a tough game. Here you see, I think it was Gary Gait is just getting mugged. They were calling a penalty on it. But Jesse Hubbard has had all kinds of chances. Toronto's been letting him walk in. And that's his first goal of the game. Toronto's playing the odds. They're letting Hubbard and Shearer score because you figure you give them the shots, they're going to do less damage than the Gates do.
16th of the year, and what a hit that was.
Beautiful hit by Langdale
Chris
on
Langdale.
top.
He ran over Rodney Tapp.
Some bad blood out here.
Well, on the face-offs, it's like watching a punt return or a kickoff return in football. You get a good running start, heading in different directions.
That's right.
Squire rolling over his man as the ball is turned over, and we've got a timeout on the floor. 9:22 remains in the fourth period, and Toronto leads 12-9.
Life has its bumps, but you don't have to feel them. Now Midas Gold struts with R2 technology are only $79.95 each, with a lifetime guarantee at any Midas. Go smoothly. Go Midas.
Summertime is baseball time, and time for you to catch the Blue Jays with their 7-game power pack. Get great seats for the best teams. Call 416-341-1234. See Jeter, Alomar, Palmeiro, Garciaparra, Rodriguez, Guerrero, and Piazza. Blue Jays 7-game power packs start as low as $49. Great seats, the best teams, the season's hottest games. Buy your power pack today. Call the Blue Jays fan phone at 416-341-1234.
Life has its bumps, but you don't have to feel them. Now Midas Gold struts with R2 technology are only $79.95 each, with a lifetime guarantee at any Midas. Go smoothly. Go Midas.
Tonight's Rock broadcast brought to you in part by Yamaha, exceeding expectations. Also by Chevy Trucks, like a rock. Here's Fultz showing that quickness again, brought it up the floor. Jesse Hubbard now. Paul Gait. They've done a nice job on Paul Gait in the second half to keep him off the sheet after he had dominated scoring in the first. And Watson makes a save there, and Clark has to scoop up a loose ball. Quickly played ahead. This is Toll. Waiting now for teammates to arrive. He decides not to press the issue because of the score. 12-9 Toronto and the time factor. Gill. Rod Squire out there gets the ball back from O'Connor. Roddy Squire trying to lift it in there for Gill. That didn't work, and the ball is turned over, and Jesse Hubbard has it now. Doddridge. Lead pass out of the door, and a shot rolling to the goal! Oh, it's waved off. Goaltender Watson got a look behind him, and that thing was trickling ever so slowly towards that goal line, and Terry Bullen diving over it.
Here we're going to see, I thought this was going to roll in, and you see Hiltz diving for it. Now the reason that wouldn't count, I think why he waved off right away, is Hiltz stepped into the crease.
Before he dove in.
Before he dove in, yeah, that's right. He put one foot and then he dove. You're allowed to dive in if the ball is there, knock it in, but
you must make contact with the ball before you make contact with the crease. Is that right?
That's right.
Let's get another look at it here.
Here you're going to see, now the ball's rolling behind. Now he could have dove in, but he steps in there, and that's what nullifies it. But Neil Doddridge is getting a penalty here. Joe, I didn't see what happened here.
Maybe that's one of the reasons why the play was whistled out.
That's possible.
Doddridge in the box and Toronto on the power play. This is their 5th of the game. Pittsburgh has had 10. And the goaltender is able to scoop it up. Devin Dolly. And now here's Pittsburgh getting it out. Fultz keeping an eye over his shoulder to see where the traffic's coming from. Now makes the move and got the shot away. Boy, he can accelerate, can't he?
Yeah, you really have to be careful when he's out there.
Colin Doyle bringing up the power play for Toronto with 1:25 to go. It has been short-handed where they've been exceptional, scoring 3 short-handed goals. It's on the carpet again. Cantabine is able to come away with it. Squire chasing him, but it's up to
Toronto
Tapp.
got caught. Here's Gait.
Here's Gait scoring, and Gary Gait has his first of the game.
Now Toronto really fell apart on that one. As you're going to see from the transition, Toronto had plenty of time because from the moment, here you see a nice shot. The problem with this goal from a Toronto perspective is Pittsburgh had the ball for a good 5-10, well, not 10 seconds, but a good 5-6 seconds. Toronto had enough time to get back and get him covered. And I think they had 3 guys trying to force the ball instead of getting to the bench.
His 34th of the season. His 75th point of the season. Make it his 76th because he's had an assist here tonight. But the Rock have done an outstanding job on the all-time leading scorer in the National Lacrosse League's history in Gary Gait. But there's still time left.
They've done a great job. That's what makes it all the more frustrating. They give up an easy one. They've executed so well today.
Terry Bullen has been outstanding in marking him. And Bullen's hit there on Paul Gait turned the ball over.
And you see Gait is going to the net. He doesn't care if they're short-handed, and he's so powerful. You got to be careful on him all the time.
Veltman bringing it up, still on the power play for Toronto. So both teams have used short-handed situations to their benefit. Doyle, Veltman, outside shot. Langdo went wide. Veltman pass inside. Stroop sends it over top of the goal. Net dislodged. Veltman with a shot. pass back, shot scores! Oh my! What a glory! No! They're waving it off.
I don't know what he's calling. That was a beautiful goal, unless he says the net was already off, but...
Or Gill was in the crease. He was pointing to the crease. Here's another look at it.
Here we're going to see it. I think there was no way he was in the net. We're going to see here. Oh, I don't know what he's calling on that.
Well, whatever it is, it's still 12-10. Pittsburgh down 2. 6 minutes to play. Ball in the air. Lattice runs over his man and gets it ahead. Here's Coyle. The two defensive stalwarts working the fast break. And Pat Coyle loses the ball. Now he's in trouble here with Cantabine. Cantabine's pass inside, off the goalpost. Did Watson stop that, or did it go off the crossbar?
Off the post.
I thought it hit the crossbar. So Toronto gets a big break there. Kim Squire. Seems at even strength. Shot scores! Oh boy, Steve Toll scores a big goal right there.
That's a very timely goal, the way this game was going, Joe. It looked like the next goal is going to be a real momentum breaker one way or the other.
13-10 Toronto.
Just a nice outside shot. He bounces it. You're going to see from here, he just bounces it to the short side or between the legs. Beautiful. And Toronto knows they have to get the shots on net. That's another thing that the coaching staff has talked to them about. Gary Gait and Paul Gait have over 200 shots between them. The top shooter on Toronto as far as number of shots is Dan Stroop with 68.
Well, here tonight, Pittsburgh's had 41 shots. The Rock have had 51.
And that's what they need to do. Keep shooting. The Gates prove you shoot enough, you're going to get a lot of goals.
Hubbard bringing up the ball for Pittsburgh. Lays it off to the far side. Here's Folks trying to step in with an outside shot that rang wide. Bullen freezes his man, but it's grabbed off by Batley. Folks changes hands and shoots wide. And it goes into the crowd. And there'll be a break in the action with 4:42 remaining in the fourth period. The Rock 13. The Pittsburgh Crossfire 10.
Are we into sports or what? Toronto Sun Sports. Are we into sports or what? Toronto Sun Sports.
Hello out there. It's hockey night tonight. Attention goes for the goal zone, and the puck goes down the ice. The goalie jumps and the players bump and the fans all go insane. Someone roars, Bobby scores at the good old hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game. It's the best game. Thanks a lot, man. It's a Canadian game.
So what's on for today?
Boss wants you, me, and Charlie to take the new Silverado and move them bales.
Is that Charlie?
Chevy Silverado has the most powerful V8 of any 4x4 pickup.
Then we gotta water the herd.
300 horses make it more powerful.
If there's any daylight left, we'll take Norm up to see the ladies.
More powerful than Ford and Dodge. That's why it's the truck. Silverado from Chevy.
Well, guess that's enough for today.
15,050 are jammed into the Grand Old Lady on Carlton Street here tonight, and the final Rock regular season home game is coming up Saturday, April the 8th at 4 p.m. The Albany Attack in town. And there's the score out of town. Albany blasting Syracuse in the third quarter, 12-3. So that's going to set up another big game next week. Here's Colin Doyle, hooked down, and the ball goes over top, and he ends up in the crease. They're going to want the ball back deep in Pittsburgh territory. Quickly sent up, and out comes Berthiaume. Heading to the bench. Paul Gait out there along with brother Gary. Gary Gait has the ball, dishes it off. Hubbard had it inside, and then the shot went wide as Hiltz couldn't control it. Paul Gait quickly scoops it on the carpet and heads to the net. Stop, rebound, shoved over top of the goal. It's still loose on the wall and played up along the boards. Bullen, who's had an exceptionally strong game defensively here for Toronto, steps over his man.
And he got some good help there. I'm not sure if it was Steve Toll or Pat Coyle. As Bullen was in a bit of trouble with Gait coming around, whoever that it was, I wasn't sure who it was, read it perfectly, came over, gave him some help, and that's what Toronto's got to do.
Here's Stroop. Toll lost it, regained it by Ryan O'Connor. Good play there, but time with 3 seconds left in the shot clock. Fired wide of the net.
Very good heads-up play. You didn't see it out of camera range as Toronto got that loose ball. Chris Gill and I think it was Rory Graham went straight to the bench to get the defensive guys on. They know they got to get the defensive guys on early here. Don't give them any fast breaks.
And give them a chance to get on the floor
give
without having, right.
That's right, to be waiting instead of always running back into the play.
Gait sent it wide. Hiltz up top. Bullen working on Gary Gait. He's done a tremendous job. He's wrapped up there, showing him the inside of his stick right into the face of Gary Gait, and the ball is turned over. Bullen has been bullying Gary Gait all night long. Coyle and Candabine having words as Veltman brings it up.
Now it's also very important at this point in the game for the Toronto offense to give the defense a rest. Take the 30 seconds because you want that defense fresh for the rest of the game.
Kim Squire backs inside, then sent it high and wide, and then ended up in the crease. And the whistle gives the Toronto Rock ample opportunity to make player changes. Goaltender Devin Dolly was tangled up in the mesh. There you see him getting untangled. There's the number to call if you'd like to join us down here at Maple Leaf Gardens, 416-596-3075 for ticket information, whether it's individual tickets or group sales.
Pittsburgh has called a Timex timeout.
Coach John Tucker of Pittsburgh wants to talk about the final couple of minutes of play, down 3 here against Toronto. As they discuss things over at the Pittsburgh bench. And Les Bartley, Ed Como, Derek Keenan. Here's the standings if this score holds up. And you can see how tightly bunched it is. Albany will be 6-3.
And like you say, Joe, that's going to make for a very important game next week. That'll be a first place battle next week. Albany's got a tough team. They were 1-4 early in the season, so they've really come along.
The Toronto Rock finished the season in Syracuse.
Yeah, you don't like to look ahead, but that should be a win for them. Syracuse has almost traded their whole team away.
Well, he's playing here tonight.
That's right.
Paul Gait. The hit of the game is brought to you by Yamaha, exceeding expectations.
And there were many, Joe.
Off the face-off, and a big hit there by Chris Langdale.
That was on Rodney Tapp, and Rodney Tapp got up a little angry on that one. I don't blame him. Not that it was an unfair hit, just nobody likes to take a good one like that.
Here's Gait, and the net empty down to our right. Pittsburgh goes with the extra attacker with 2:08 remaining. Hubbard. Shot wide of the goal. Rebounded, stopped by Watson and smothered. And now Pittsburgh has got to get goaltender Dolly back on, and he does. We'll see a lot of this now. Coyle calling a timeout and taking an extra couple of hacks from Kip Fultz.
Well,
27-year-old, fourth-year player.
He got an extra couple of hacks, but he gave a nice one back.
And so Fultz heads to the Pittsburgh bench after a word from Watson and Patty Coyle. And there is the final regular season game, 4 p.m. here at Maple Leaf Gardens. The Rock against the Albany Attack.
They actually have one more road game after that, Joe, at Syracuse on April 15th. But don't want to get ahead of it. We still got a minute and so left here, but that'll be a great game next week. Terry Sanderson is a legendary Canadian lacrosse figure, and he coaches Albany, and they are always tough. They take on the persona of their coach.
So Bob Watson is over at the bench. Tonight's Turning Point brought to you by AOL Canada. New pricing, unlimited use. Stay on as long as you want. The steal by Toll right here.
And this was a beautiful one, as I was saying before. He couldn't buy a goal earlier in the season. He was getting 2 breakaways a game. Today he's got 2 goals, putting them all in now.
That opened up the 3-goal lead that the Rock enjoys now. That made it 10-7. Langdale quickly to the bench as Watson comes on, as Toronto guarding against the press by Pittsburgh on the timeout call. Beltman.
They're going to take the full
Here's
30 seconds
Gill
every time.
Going to the net, and that is stopped by goaltender Daly.
But notice how the Toronto defense is already, 4 of their defenders are already on the floor waiting, because the other guys, as they saw Gill going to the net, they went to the bench. Very
Gill
wisely.
hustling to the bench, and that allows Dan Ladouceur onto the floor. Cantabine. The goaltender is out of the net for Pittsburgh. 6 attackers for the Crossfire, and the ball intercepted by Jim Beltman with an empty net. Jimmy Beltman throwing the stick. He wants to wait and kill off more time, and he scores.
That's exactly what he did.
Well, Devin Dolby didn't have any other choice. It's either that or start taking other pieces of my equipment off and throwing.
I'm interested to see what they're going to call on that.
Well, in hockey, it's a penalty shot against an empty net.
He should be getting another penalty on top of that, just for the danger of throwing a stick. But Jim Beltman, he's always the thinker on the floor. Steals the ball, and he's not just going to put it in. He's thinking right here, how much time can I kill?
That's a smart
Now,
player.
that is not showboating at all.
No, it isn't.
That is, if he could have, he would have killed another 20 seconds.
13:59, the first goal of the game for Jim Beltman, and his 5th of the season. And a 14-10 lead for Toronto as a result. And less than a minute to go in the 4th period. The goaltender Dalip is out of the net again. It's the danger you run into in either sport, hockey or lacrosse. The shot trickled over top of the net, as that seemed to knuckle on Bob Watson a bit. Terry Bullen bringing it up. The big defender from Aurelia has had a marvelous night here tonight against Gary Gait. Rod Squire, 30 seconds left, holding the ball and killing the clock. 10 seconds left in the shot clock. Rod Squire, far side. O'Connor inside, shot by Toth is stopped. Fresh 30, but it'll be cleared down the floor by Pittsburgh. 10 seconds left in the game. They've tasted defeat only one time on this floor, and it won't be again tonight. The Toronto Rock have a huge home floor victory over the Pittsburgh Crossfire to go back into top spot in the National Lacrosse League.
I'd have to say this has been the most entertaining game they've played here this season too. Pittsburgh with the Gait Brothers really provides a great balance against Toronto, the top offense against the top defense.
Well, Terry Bullen did a tremendous job defensively against Gary Gait, the leading point getter in the history of the National Lacrosse League. Gets a single goal, and it's really the defense of Bob Watson and everybody else that did a tremendous job for Les Bartley. The Toronto Rock win it 14-10.
Molson Export Rock Lacrosse was brought to you by Molson Export. Rock this. Midas Car Care, the way it should be. By Chevy Trucks, like a rock. And by Yamaha, exceeding expectations.
The Rock win it 14-10. Let's go downstairs to our Paul Hendrick.
Well, thank you, Joe. Looking forward to a great game next week here on CTV Sportsnet. The Toronto Rock back home at Maple Leaf Gardens, Saturday afternoon at April 8th. Game time at 4 o'clock. The Rock entertaining the Albany Attack. And what a game that will be. And as if all holds true, it will be a game for first place. Again, our final score from Maple Leaf Gardens here tonight. The Toronto Rock 14, Pittsburgh 10. So long from Toronto.
Ahead on Sports Central, hockey toys for birthday boys blow the candles for Barrasso and Bure. Ottawa blows into Florida. Certain steps must be made to enter the postseason. We examine Montreal's footwork. Stand tall, don't you fall. For God's sake, don't go and do something foolish. Sing along with the Raptors and Hornets. The Duchess of Windsor visits France. Jennifer Robinson carries Canada's colors at the Worlds. It ain't easy being green. Sean needs a hug or two. He returns to Toronto wearing Dodger blue. Thriving and diving, Sports Central's jiving next. Welcome, everyone. Jamie Campbell and Mike Toth on about 4 minutes early. I want retroactive pay for this.
Yes, we're going to have to speak to somebody about that. Hey, we've got to talk about a lot of things tonight. We've got a great show. Boy, what a great time we had in our days off, though. We spent so much time together. We saw 3 hockey games in 3 nights, including a game in Peterborough, and we were sitting up in the stands for an OHL playoff game. We got talking to a couple of rink rats, Ryan and Josh. Got talking about some of the great goaltenders that have played for Peterborough over the year. Millen, Tugnut.
Lots of them.
And a guy by the name of Zach Burke, who had a hand in doing something big to the Ottawa Senators in the game last night.
Mike, perhaps the Senators are comfortable now that they've clinched a playoff position. Perhaps catching the Leafs for a divisional title isn't that important. How else do you explain the beating they took last night by Tampa Bay, a bottom-dwelling club employing a goaltender named, as he mentioned, Zach Burke, who's better known for being an ex-rock star's brother than for stopping pucks? No word of Skid Row was on the playlist during warm-up as the Senators readied for the Florida Panthers. We had it here right on Sports Central, as you know. Mr. Bure turning 29 today. Don't know how many roses he got from Sergei Fedorov. Brett Hedican, shot deflects wide. Lamperi is there for his 8th, beating Mr. Barrasso. Panthers lead at 1-0. They have a 1-point edge on Ottawa in the standings. Bure down the wing. Barrasso says, "It's my birthday, too. And I'll blow out this candle." Pad save. It was 1-0 Florida after 1. Second period. Jess Levy to Alfredson. He'll beat Vernon. It's 1-1. Alfredson has 18 on the year. The Sens are shorthanded. Dacker with the steal. Takes it from Ray Whitney. He can't get it by Mike Vernon, though. Dacker can't believe it, and I can't believe I said Ray Whitney on a power play. Here's Bure. Gets the shot away. Barrasso makes a save, but he won't make it on Mike Sillinger, who collects his 23rd. It's 2-1 for Florida. They keep it coming. Bure in the 3rd. Dink. He goes off the iron. Shaking his head, looking for number 56 on the year is Mr. Bure. Would have been a nice little birthday gift. But Kozlov has added one for the Panthers. They now lead Ottawa 3-1 in the 3rd. Bure extending his point streak to 10 games. He has an assist tonight. Senators looking to complete a 4-game sweep of Florida, but it doesn't appear they'll get that done. Dr. Stanley Chang, the man who operated on Brian Berard, is encouraged by the Leaf defenseman's progress. This word from Berard's agent, Tom Laidlaw, who spoke with Sports Central today. It's expected Berard will meet with the media Monday. Sportsnet will carry that press conference when it happens. Wednesday night, we have the Leafs and Penguins. On Labatt Blue NHL game night, it's the penultimate regular season home game for the Leafs. That means second from last. Jim Houston, Craig Simpson, and even I'll have a say or two in this one. We'll have it. Penguins and Leafs here on Sportsnet. Keep in mind the NHL playoffs begin April 12th. We'll be the host of the opening round.
See, that's the difference between you and me. I would never even attempt to use the word pentultimate. in anything I do. Going to Nashville is one of the great road trips in the NHL. You can hit the Music City theme park, you can go to the Grand Ole Opry, you can see the club where Garth Brooks hit it big. But the Vancouver Canucks had other things to worry about, such as knocking the Predators off and staying alive in the playoff race. Yes, the Canucks just 3 back with 5 to play. Let's take a look at the Moose. He is on the loose. Brian Burke, the GM, says there's one reason why we're in the position we are. Number 11. He's just been great down the stretch. First period, Bordelot with a nice effort. Hey, how about that? That's hockey. As he chips it in past Potvin, and it was 1-0 for Nashville. Preds in a power play now. Gotta love the Drake. Drake Verhosky with a one-timer hits the post, and then Potvin's pad, and it goes just wide. How about that? The Canucks are going to respond, though. Oh, what Tuesday do the old Bertuzzi? Boy, this big man has sure had a nice season. He's 24th of the year, and that tied the game up at 1 apiece. He is pumped. How about that? Second period. I was talking about Messier. There he is in the flesh. He goes to Naslund. He did his job. Naslund moving in. Stop. 3 other Canucks, not 1, not 2, but 3 other Canucks get shots at it, but Dunham spoils the broth. And everybody congregates to talk about that. And, of course, the Moose right in the middle of that. Preds on a power play. Yachmanev with centering pass. Oh, it goes in off the scale of the RoboCup in front. It's going to count for the Preds as they are preying on the Canucks at this particular stage in a hockey game. They're in the 3rd period now. Yeah, Nashville's still in front 2-1. Now, keep in mind the Canucks have been pretty hot. They've won 5 of their last 7, 6-2 all time against Nashville. But the Predators are not cooperating as we speak.
Phoenix and Calgary, Jerome McGinley back in the lineup for the Flames. He'd missed 2 games. Good thing they need him. In the first, Travis Green feeds Greg Adams. Greg Adams feeds the cage. Beats Fred Brathwaite. Phoenix is up 1-0 after 1 period of play. The Flames, with 6 games to go, are 7 points out of the playoffs. And Larry Tucker with a great line in the Calgary Herald today saying they likely have to win all 6 of the remaining games. Understatement of the year. It looks like they may have to. At this point, they are trailing the Coyotes by a single goal.
All right, let's take a look at Atlanta and New Jersey, specifically this big man, Martin Brodeur, as the Devils looking to take sole possession of first place in the East. About 44 into the first, the Devils are pressing. Lemieux goes to Colin White, who in turn will set up Randy McKay because he's going to get a piece of that puck with that lumber in his hands. He beats Rhodes, and it was 1-0 for the New Jersey Devils. Atlanta looking for an answer. Andrew Burnett. Yes, sometimes brunettes have more fun than blondes. He takes a shot, but there with a big save. He's not having much fun against that guy right there because Brodeur stoned him. 1-0 Devils after 1. 6:13 into the second period. Devils on the power play. Holy Malakoff with a point shot. Scott Gomez, there he is, that fab freshman. Used to watch him play with the Alaska All-Stars at a Max Midget tournament up there in Calgary. He scores to make it 2-0 for the Devils. 4 minutes left in the second. 2-on-1. John Madden. Boom. You gotta love that Madden. Boom, right there. 5 hole on Rhodes, and it was 3-0 in New Jersey. 19 seconds left in the second. Sikora, he is shooting, and he is scoring as he bangs in his own rebound. They return to center play. He's a devil in disguise. You see there? 2 references to an Elvis Presley song and 1 highlight. I can go 3. I've done 4 before.
You even sound like him.
Yeah, thank you very much. Devils are just 6-12-1 in their last 19 games, and 1-2 under Larry Robinson. But now, with that victory, they are now 2-2 as they shut down Atlanta, and Martin Brodeur gets the big shutout.
Bring on Carolina and Buffalo. Hurricanes, 3-1 winners on this night. That's important because that means Carolina now moves up into a tie for 8th place with the Montreal Canadiens, 1 ahead of Buffalo, 78 points for the Hurricanes. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a race in the East. Welcome back, everyone. Jamie Campbell and Mike Toth. We are a regional network. That gives us a chance to welcome the folks who have been watching the Ottawa Senators and the Florida Panthers. Unfortunately, unfortunately, if you're a Senators fan, getting a victory there. We'll update that game later on in the show, but you have some news first.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Man, Jamie here and I spent a lot of time together during our days off. We went to dinner, we went to the movies, hockey games, and we never even had one fight. We got along splendidly. If only I could say the same thing about the Toronto Raptors. In the midst of a slump that has seen them drop 5 of 6, the Raptors are bickering amongst themselves right now. The players say the offense is too predictable. Coaches say the big men aren't getting the job done at the start of the ball game. You name it, someone is going to blame it. But I'll tell you, they needed to get their heads right for a big game with the Charlotte Hornets. We have the highlights. That's what we get paid to do. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate that. Kenny handing me the highlights. He is also the guy who gets me my towels and water here on the show. Tracy McGrady taking to the hole, gets the foul. There you go, T-Mac. And Vince Carter coming off a 39-point game. Stops, pops, drops. 3-ball. Attaboy, Vinny. Eddie Jones now touching up Toronto for 25 points the last time these two teams went head-to-head. He knocks down the 3. He's got his basketball Jones going, and the Hornets had it going. They were in front by 3. Things heating up in the paint. Told you it was a big game. Anthony Mason posting up, and he nails the Oak. And the Oak Tree not pleased about that. A couple of venerable veterans going face-to-face as they try and face the music. What are we facing here? A tight game. We knew it was going to be that way, but the Raptors are in front by 1. 79-78 is your score. They're playing in the fourth quarter. And as I mentioned off the top, the Raptors have lost 5 of their last 6. They really need this one tonight, and we'll see if they can get it. We'll keep you posted. And we'll keep you posted right here on the full CTV network. Reggie in the